Sadly, this is a forsaken generation. Hear this well, we're not going away. Eyes are opening to the truth. We grow stronger in number as a united force every day. Babies are dying, parents left crying, told that SIDS or coincidence disorder are to blame, parents forced to live with the pain and shame. The once bright smiling faces full of wonder turned vacant stares, families shattered while they also endured the public glares. You're wiping out future generations for your own selfish gain as we form this revolution for liberation and change. We will keep speaking louder and louder. We will not be silenced until there's a shift in power. So stand up, speak out, be brave, be the voice of the voiceless. Too many forsaken lay in their graves. Welcome to Forsaken Generation.
All right, everybody. Welcome to Forsaken Generation Radio Show. I am your host, Lynette Marie Barron, and my buddy and sidekick, Anu, is not on with me yet, so I'm sure he'll be joining me in just a moment. But I am as amped up as I have been in a while this week. It has just been an amazing week, and, just so much going on. I was actually invited late last night to be a speaker on May 18th at the Wisconsin State Capitol for medical health freedom to get out there and speak. So I'm super excited about that. So if you're in or around the area and you can be there and be a part of this, that will be at the Wisconsin State Capitol May 18th. So you can go on Facebook and you can find that on my Facebook wall. And if you would like to help support the mission, you can go on my Facebook wall, Lynette Marie Barron, and I have a fundraiser, Hitting the Streets with Love, Mercy, and Truth, and you can help there because us activists fund all of this out of pocket. And thanks to Etsy attacking my main income now, this has become very hard. You can find our products, our detox, our autism stuff, all of those kind of things. You can find those at Polly's Place on Shopify, and 20% of the sales go back to the Autism Trust to help there as well. So not only are you helping us out and our activism, but you're also helping the Autism Trust at the same time. So that is pretty awesome. Thank them for actually letting us put our products there. And that was God, because that happened right before our products that were our main sellers were stripped from Etsy. Isabella Yon reached out to me and invited us to put our products on their Shopify on Polly's Place. So it was definitely, that was definitely God in motion there, because it was just, timing was just impeccable. But I'm so excited about the rally coming up, and I have been asked to speak at things in the past in Denver recently and things like that, and I've just not had the funds to be able to go. And this one, I told her I will be there, no matter what. I will make sure I can figure out how to fund this and get there, because it's just, there's just too many things I would love to address and talk about, and I feel like it's time to get out there and speak again and spread some more love, and, it's time. So anyway, sitting here waiting on my buddy Anu. Don't know where my buddy Anu is at. He might have forgot to tell me he's busy this morning. I know he's been at the Cornerstones for health freedom over there, and, kind of been busy with that. So I don't know. Let's see if he gets in here. Yeah, he's been at the Cornerstones of Freedom in Newark, so don't know where he is. Sitting here waiting on you, Anu. Oh, my goodness. But, yeah, so I'm super excited, you guys. There's so much going on. I did get a message from Mary Ann. Let's see. Hold on. Let me find it. I'm supposed to be Mary Pules Kavanaugh. There we go. So this is about the rally in Tally. This is in Florida, so Florida Freedom Alliance. This is April 23rd, 2019, from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m., and it says at Waller Park Courthouse. So if you can be there, please be there. I believe Sheila Ely is speaking. I'm not sure who else will be there, but I do know that they would love you guys to be there if you can. I believe Erin or Marie RN is heading this up. I'm not sure who's doing that with her. I do believe it. I know it is her. For sure, and like I said, I believe Sheila will be speaking, Sheila L. Ely, from the movie Vax, mother of Templeton. Temple. So you guys make sure you are there if you can be. There are so many rallies going on. There are so many people getting out, and it is so amazing. There was one in Texas recently that just blew my mind. It was so amazing to listen and see the senators and representatives and people like that out there with our people standing up for medical health freedom. Because whether you believe in vaccines or not, whether you've done the research at this point or not, which I hope you do, but if you haven't done that or anything like that, say your child ends up sick or your elderly parent, you don't want them to be able to say they can mandate and force them to take a vaccine. I mean, because at this point, a lot of doctors are seeing that, these patients come into the hospital because they've had a trauma and or they've had a heart attack or whatever the case may be, and these physicians are pushing vaccines on them while they're in the hospital, and then they're taking a major turn for the worse, and it's just so sad because, we can't have that. We really do have to keep choice in place. So whether you want the flu shot or not, you should believe in the fact that it's your choice to get it and your choice to get it for your children. And the more you know about it, the less and less you'll want any of those toxic things. But it's all about choice. It's all about getting out there and doing doing your own research and figuring it out for yourself and reading both sides of the literature. If you are out there and you would like to talk with me while I'm sitting here waiting on Anu to join me, you can call 319-527-6208 and press 1 to get on the air, because I have got a full hour till Dr. Gilles joins me. So feel free to call in and say good morning to me, talk to me about what you've going on and got going on in your state, what rallies are happening. Let's get people involved. Let's get more people out there coming to your events. I know there's stuff going on in California. There is just stuff everywhere. So if you can I know in Virginia, I believe there is a boot camp about your First Amendment rights and these kind of things in the Constitution happening on the 27th and the 28th. And you do have to book ahead of time or whatever and, get registered to attend and all that. So you might want to check that out if that's something you're interested in. I know I have a few friends going to that. So, there's just so much going on. My calendar is I've just got so many things written into it, and I'm trying to get to anything and everything that I possibly can. But, it is hard fund-wise because, like I said, us activists are out here and we are doing this stuff. Okay, thank you, Lou. Lou Drago says in New York there is a rally May 15th in Albany. Do you know the address, Lou? Do you know where in Albany this will be taking place? I would definitely love to share that with my listeners. If you know that where this is happening, just give me if you have the information and I'll share it with everybody. But she says in New York there'll be a rally May 15th in Albany. So things are going on everywhere, you guys. It's crazy. It's very interesting to see how many people are getting out and have finally had enough. When they really started pushing the censorship on social media, I think a lot of people just decided they had enough. And so, she says the 14th. Okay, so New York rally, and that is the 14th then, Lou, am I correct? And that is 198 State Street in Albany. So mark your calendars for that one as well if you can attend. That will be in New York. And like I said, they're happening everywhere. If you're listening in right now and you know of one, you can go to my Facebook wall where Lou is typing in right now, and you can tell me what's happening where you are, and I will be glad to mention that on the air for you. Like I said, there's just so much going. There's a Capitol hearing happening right now in Missouri for HB 711 and HB 1164. So I just saw that pop up. So, yeah, there's so much going on, you guys, so much happening, and everybody's getting out fighting. Everybody's getting out to their capitals. Everybody's getting out talking to their representatives and everybody. It's just amazing to see people are coming up with information packets and, brochures, just all kinds of things. It's like, wow, I'm so proud to see everybody stepping this up and getting out there. And just remember, when you're getting in the streets and you're talking to everyone, please lead with love. If there's anything you keep in the back of your mind, remember to talk to people the way you would like to be talked to, approach things in a way of mercy, and try to come at it from that, that perspective. I always say that, but it's because I mean it, and it is where I come from, and I think that it does help us, and it does help us break down some barriers and talk to people we otherwise might not be able to talk to. So keep that in mind when you're out there advocating, and don't, even if they spit at you, even if they say you're a child killer or I hope your children die or whatever the case may be, do not spit back at them. Please, please, please lead with love. Don't let them change who you are, how you behave. And if that is how you behave on a regular, you might want to evaluate yourself. I'm just saying. We really can't bring change to the world coming from a place of hate. It just doesn't work that way. Many people have tried to do that. It just doesn't really do us any good. And you see how it fails, and you see what happens because of it. Hate seems to be what comes from our opposition, and we don't want to be, represented like that. So I don't even know where Anu is, Lou. She said, ask Anu where his First Freedoms event. I don't even know where Anu is right now, Lou. Anu is not on the air with me. Anu has not said a word to me. I have no idea where he is. My sidekick is AWOL right now. MIA, missing in action. Call in somebody, 319. Come on. I'm sitting here like 319-527-6208. Call in and talk to me. Let's talk about what you've got going on where you're at, because my sidekick is apparently busy at Cornerstones of Freedom and forgot to tell me. He forgot to tell me he wouldn't be calling in, apparently. I don't know where he is. I know that's where he is. I just don't know if what's going on. He might be in the air. Who knows? He might be traveling today. He might have forgot. He might not even remember today is Monday. Who knows? Oh, my goodness. Good morning, Felicia. Thank you for sharing. Good morning, Retha. Good morning, Samantha. Love to have you guys listening in this morning. Good morning to everyone. If you'd like to interact and talk with me, you can go to my Facebook wall, Lynette Marie Barron. It'll say the show is starting now. Listen live at Freedomizer Radio. In that feed, you will see Lou Drago talking to me. Feel free to correspond throughout the show. If you have any questions for my main guest when he gets on, feel free to ask them there. You can also comment on the Freedomizer Radio when you're clicking into the link where I'm live at, and comment there, and I can talk to you there. So there's also that. But, yeah, we should have Dr. Gilles on with us. He should be joining me in about a little under about 45 minutes or so. So you guys just hang in there. I'm excited about that. I have no idea where my buddy Anu is, so we'll see what's kicking, see what's going on if he joins me, when he joins me. Let's see here. So anyway, you guys, I really hope that everybody is having an amazing Monday. Let me see. I look like I've got somebody. Let's see who we got here. 414, who do I have on the air?
Hey, girl, it's Amber Smith.
What's up, girl? Let's talk about what's popping off in Wisconsin next month. I'm so excited.
Yes, absolutely. I am so excited. You have no idea.
Well, I'm proud of you guys. This is cool.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes my heart race that we're stepping up, and letting it be known that we're not gonna take this tyranny any longer, and that these are our freedoms and these are our rights, and we're not going to stand for them being taken away. So I love that everybody is gathering together in their individual states and, rising up.
Oh, yeah, I agree. Well, it's time. It's definitely time.
Oh, yeah.
And the fact, for me, I'm excited to be able to come your way and be able to, do this with you guys. And for me, it's worth the drive. I love being able to get up and talk about what's going on and talk about, just love and compassion and mercy and really how we get to the next step. And, I'm just appreciative that you're even giving me the opportunity to do that. So thank you.
Oh, and I thank you for even offering your time. You're such a powerful speaker and just such an amazing advocate for this movement, in particular. And, this rally wouldn't be the same without you there. So we're excited to host you here in the Badger State. And be ready, because we're probably going to have more than one cheese hat ready for you. So be ready to
awesome.
Pack them full, pack your car full, maybe some cheese curds,
I know. I told my daughter, I showed her the picture, and she was cracking up. She was like, heck yes. And she's like, the funny part is they don't realize you'll actually wear that. I was like, for you, of course I will.
Oh,
girl,
I
love souvenirs.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm gonna do the Wisconsin blue mohawk for you too. I'm gonna get it ready, girl. We're gonna be ready for this.
Yes, Madison is not gonna know what hit him. Absolutely.
Oh yeah, and I'm telling you, I'm ready. I haven't got to speak in a while, and my heart has been telling me it's time to get out there again. And I'm just like, you know what? When you asked me, I was like, yes, girl, we will make this happen. And my daughter was like, Mom, you're crazy. That's a long drive. I was like, all right, well, you better be ready to ride and keep me awake, girl.
Right. Well, we're super happy and excited that, like I said, that you're even making the trip and you're offering your time, and we're honored, and we can't wait to have you here. So,
well,
very excited.
I'm so proud of you. Yeah, and Erin Marie RN will be joining us, and Caitlin RN. Yep. Who else do we got?
We have Alex Hardinger. She's a nutritional practitioner out here in Wisconsin. And then I actually just confirmed that we're going to have Dr. Dale Brown, the Wild Doc, also speaking for us at our rally. Yay!
Are you serious?
I'm super excited.
That's my homie.
I'm super excited for him to come.
I'm gonna cry. I've been dying
to
to meet this man for so long. Oh my goodness. Okay, now I'm like, woo.
I know. He was one of the first top people on my list, and I am so excited that he agreed to come. And
he's a powerhouse.
I know. He fights his city like I do. Like I'm fighting the fluoride here in the city where I live, and he's like that too, and he's just, he's a rock star. And you and him and Aaron and Caitlin and all of our other speakers, it's going to be an amazing day full of truth and full of love and full of education, and it's going to be amazing, and it literally could not come soon enough. So
yes,
super
I'm so
excited. We're hoping we're trying to plan some live music there. We're going to get you up on that stage, girl, get a mic in your hand. We're hoping to have, like a kids table, because, kids, they get antsy. So we're going to hopefully have a kids table with some face painting. They can, make their own rally signs. So, we're trying not to make it, too crazy, but, we lead with love here in Wisconsin. We got that Midwestern hospitality. So we're gonna make it wonderful.
Well, I am super ecstatic. I'm serious. I'm beaming. This is a big deal because everybody needs to be out and be doing this. And if you can get out and you can do these events, please go to them. If you're not a speaker, if you're just out there and you're just showing support, if you're someone who's afraid to get up and talk, but you're able to hold a sign, you're able to wear your T-shirt or whatever and just, lock arms, please be there, because you matter just as much as anybody getting up there to talk. You matter even more. We need those mass numbers. We need to show them it's not just a couple of us out here who are upset. No. So everybody, please be at all of these events you can be at. So this is in Wisconsin at the state capitol. This is happening May 18th, you guys. We have one popping off in New York, in Albany on the 14th at 198 State Street in Albany. I know they're happening everywhere. If you want to give me more of them, if you'd like me to announce them, I know the one there's one happening in Florida as well.
The rally in Cali. The rally in Cali.
Yeah, rally in Cali, April 23rd.
April 23rd. Yeah, I'm jealous I can't be at that one. That one's gonna be.
I know. I keep getting asked if I'm coming. I'm like, dude, I'm barely gonna swing going to the other one. I got my rent coming up, and I was like, holy smokes, my rent's like $500 a month. Shoot.
I'm glad that I caught you when I did, because we might not have even been able to get you out here. So it was you know what, it was God. It was all God. He said,
I know. I agree.
He's like, this is gonna happen, and Wisconsin needs a little bit of love too. So, we're going to make it happen. And
I'm super ecstatic. Yeah, oh yeah. I think I'm bringing my daughter. Her boyfriend might ride with us and help me drive because it's a long ride. So, oh yeah. So we might make a little trip out of it and have some fun with it. But I love road trips, girl. I will be in there singing my Warrior album the whole way, getting amped up.
Oh, absolutely. And we're going to have a big,
y'all.
We're trying to organize a big dinner afterwards. And so that way we can all
I know a lot of people always ask
unwind.
Me. Yes, and I get a lot of people asking me when I'm out at these events, will you sing? Lou's always, sing, girl, sing. So me and Amber, we're talking. I'm going to sing for y'all at this one. So this should be, we're going old school. We're actually going to sing at this rally. So
yes,
this is going to be a good one, y'all.
Live music. I'm going to go throwback.
I'm excited.
In there. Yeah, love it.
I'm
yes,
telling y'all.
Girl.
I'm telling y'all. Yes, but I mean, this is what it needs to be. This is really what uniting is. And I mean, if you guys haven't seen The March on Prime, hopefully it's still up. It will really inspire you. It is a beautiful movie. It was just really well done, and it really helps show you what people are capable of even before email, before social media, before all these things. So, I mean, I know what we're capable of. So, you know, if you'd like to be super inspired, check that out, because I tell you, it, like, made me just bawl like a baby. I think I've seen it 20 times just because it was like, oh, my goodness, like, if we could just get our people in the same mind frame, man. But Amber, you know, I'm so grateful for you in this movement. You know, Amber's done my show before. If you guys haven't heard Amber's story, it is in my archives and on my YouTube channel. Amber is amazing, and she is out here fighting. And you know, when you first popped, well, when I first saw you kind of pop up, you immediately were like, "Hey, let's get on the show." I was like, "Well, come on, girl." I mean, I love the enthusiasm. This is like, well, heck yeah, well, come on then, you know, because I love that, because so many people are so afraid when they, you know, when they really get into it, like, oh man, what's going to happen? And I love that you were like, you know what, screw fear, let's do this, and we need more of that. The more people who think like that and unite, the less power the opposition has.
Yep, the only thing you have to fear is fear itself, and I do not let fear push me around. And you know that I'm just drawn to this role of, you know, advocacy. Is just it's who I am now. It just, there's a fire inside of me that is just burning, you know, burning hard to, you know, and it's just it fuels me. So it's just who I am, you know, and I do it for these two beautiful boys that I have right here next to me, and for all the beautiful children out there, for everybody. I mean, it's not just a parent problem, it's a people problem. That's what I like to say. So for everybody.
That's right.
Everybody
and
deserves their
I'm
freedom.
with you on that. That's right. I mean, I'm out here for my kids and everybody else's. I mean, I remember, you know, when I went into the CDC, you know, I don't write a speech. I told you this last night, you know, hopefully I'm not supposed to prepare because I'm coming from the heart. I speak from, you know, like whatever God tells me to say was what I'm going to say. And, you know, when I went into ASIP like that, I mean, when I sat down, I wasn't shaky. I had no idea what I had just said, and I swear to you on that one. And I remember Catherine messaging me, and she was like, holy crap, you are one badass bee. You just dropped the roof. And I'm like, what just happened? Like a blackout, you know. And and I remember when I got to my car, people were tagging me in it, and it had already been seen by thousands of people. And I'm like, what in the world? And I mean, it was just, you know, it just went through me, and it was like, wow, like what a feeling. 'Cause my son, my 16-year-old, was with me in the car. He was with me for the whole event. And in the car, when we got there, I sat there and I just prayed, and my son was like, you know, wow, Mom. And then when we got inside, right before I was supposed to speak, I got really nervous, and I said, man, I should just leave. Like, the way I look, I'm just going to ruin it for everybody. And he looked at me and he said, Mom, no, you got this. You prayed about this. Just remember that piece. And it just washed over me. And when I got up, I mean, I didn't shake, none of that. Like, it just, I'm telling you, it was just the weirdest thing. Because when I was a kid growing up, I sang in church. I did all these things, and I shook like crazy, like a little tumbleweed. You know what I mean? Like, scared to death up there. And this was my first time really ever just speaking on a mic, just talking to people. I mean, I did Miss Epic, a beauty pageant in high school, and I was supposedly going to get first, like win. But then when we had to thank our sponsors, I was thanking my chiropractor, Dr. Bob, and I started crying, and I lost it, and I couldn't keep my composure, and I dropped down to third runner-up. And it was, so, I mean, for me to be able to get in front of the CDC and talk, that's something, girl.
Yeah.
And so, you know,
amen.
You know, so I mean, God really does work through us, because thank you. I'm not afraid at all to get up here and speak with you guys. I'm excited. I'm ready. I'm just like, yes, you know. Yeah. So I mean, this is going to be good.
Yeah, you truly are a vessel for God. I mean, just you articulate just so well verbally how everybody else is feeling, and I love listening to your show, and I love watching, you know, you speak at ASIP, and I just, you know, that's why we had to have you here in Madison, because you're gonna bring the house down. So I can't wait.
Well,
for
buddy, let me tell you something. It's so hard out here to find your way and find your place. And I mean, I took a lot of flack when I had, you know, talked to Paul Offit on my show. And, you know, saying I got death threats.
Whatever.
Oh, yeah, I got death threats after that. That's
really?
right. I got death threats after. Oh, yeah, I got death threats after the last ASIP when I was quoted by Washington Post and Science Magazine. People were death threatening me. My daughter was sitting here reading this stuff like, what in the world? I mean, it's crazy, though.
That just makes my heart hurt. And aren't we supposed to be better?
Yeah.
You know?
Look at both sides. Right? Look at everything. Yeah. You know, and so, I mean, it's funny to me. I sent Paul Offit a meme for his birthday that said, "Happy birthday, motherfucker," with Dave Chappelle drinking a glass of beer. He said it was. He said, "Thank you. That was hilarious. Thank you for, thank you were the first one to tell me happy birthday." I mean, but but this is who I am. I don't let anybody change who I am, how I act, or how I react, and that is really how I wish people saw this. Someone says, "I wish your baby would die," or "You're a baby killer," or "You're this." Mm-hmm. Well, I'm sorry you feel that way. I hope that you research this and you find your way. I hope that you further this journey. I mean, there are so many different ways to handle this than, well, F you stupid CUNT or whatever. I've seen some crazy stuff on these pages, girl. Yeah, I was one of the worst in the beginning.
Yeah, I personally have never been a victim of any of that ignorance or any of that hatred, but I've seen it. I've witnessed it on other people, and it hurts my heart that if people could be so hateful towards one another. Yeah. I mean, I get that it's a hot button topic, and still. When I first got in this movement and I realized what happened to my kids, I was angry. And I saw Pan and I saw Offit and I saw Dorit and I saw all these people who were kind of the ones everybody points the finger at the most. And I remember I went to their Twitters and I tweeted at all three of them a meme of Jesus flipping them off that said, "Even Jesus thinks you're and it said the CUNT word. Now that came from me about 4 years ago. I've never stopped regretting doing that. Never stopped regretting doing that. And I really have. I mean, I found my way back to Jesus' feet not too short after that. And I really did change everything about who I am, how I do my activism. I mean, everything about my life has changed. And, and I mean, it's just a beautiful thing for me. But, I mean, at the same time, God couldn't use me the way I was. He couldn't use me that way. There was no way he could use me with all that anger in me. And I really had to say, you know what, all these people out here that I gave a piece of me to, they don't deserve that piece anymore. And I'm taking me back, and I'm going to be me. And it really did help me in this movement and in my life as a person, just really understand whoever hurts me, whoever does this to me, they don't even realize that they're holding on to that. Paul or Pan or the doctor who injected my child who hurt her, they don't every day think about me. They don't. Well, maybe Offit does, but the rest of them don't. Why do you, right? You're forced to be reckoned with in Offit's universe, right?
Oh, man. But
you shouldn't give them so much power,
Yes, that's right. Yeah. Yes. And I mean, I took that power back, and if more people really understood that they can do that and they can further themselves so much, for me, I was so ready to stop walking and start running with the giants. I was so ready to, because I'm not afraid of this. I've been through so much in my life growing up the way I did, and just all the craziness that God put me in those battles, that this war was where I was supposed to be. And I'm okay with that. And every day is hard. When you have injured kids, severe autism, epilepsy, I mean, every day is hard. But I'm here for a reason, and I'm good with that. I made my peace with that. You know what I mean?
Amen. I say, and I wish I could find another word to say this, but for lack of a better word, I am thankful for the instance of my son's reaction, because if it wasn't for that reaction, his reaction being so severe to his 2-month shots, we very well could have continued vaccinating, and it very well could have been worse or irreparable. So if there's a part of me that, like I said, for lack of a better word, is somewhat thankful for that situation, because if it wouldn't have happened, we might have not woken up, and we might have permanently damaged our child. And we have another beautiful son who is vaccine free, and who knows? So
yeah, I'm sure the difference is evident.
And it really is. I mean, he's only one right now, but it just, for the first year, their first years were completely different. My older son, Desmond, he had ear infections and he had GI issues, and, he was just a poor little guy. And, my other son, Valen, he is just, he's thriving. He's never, the one time he got sick was right around his first birthday, and he kicked it in like a less than a day. It was crazy. So, yeah, it's definitely, even with just those 2-month shots, just to see the first year. But I mean, thankfully, thank the big man upstairs that my son Desmond, my older one, he's fine now. We don't see any residual damage, thankfully. But yeah, it happened, and
wow,
yeah. So.
It's scary, girl. It's scary out there. But
Mm-hmm.
the thing is, I think the hardest part to the injury is when you go back and you're like, oh, my goodness, this happened to my child, doctor. What do I do? It happened right after the vaccine. And they're like, oh, this is a coincidence. And then we're going to run 50 million tests your child doesn't need and make them suffer 3,000 times worse. And then we're still going to tell you you're fucking crazy. And excuse my language. Sorry, everybody. Pardon me. And But, I mean, truly, they will still tell you you're crazy and whatever. I mean, it's like, are you kidding me? This is not okay. I mean, we're parents, you're not crazy. If you're listening in right now and you got your child a vaccine and they got sick, I implore all of you, go get your medical records for your children and look at them and look at vaccine versus when your child got sick, vaccine versus when your child got sick. You can literally just do a timeline and make the correlations, and your brain will go, holy smokes, man.
And speaking of that, speaking of looking at your child's records, okay, so my husband and I, when we first got pregnant, we were actually hesitant about vaccines, but we didn't do our due diligence in researching. But we did know that there were some ones that we just really did not want to get. Like, we did not give him the Hep B at birth. He did get the vitamin K and the crappy ointment, but neither here nor there. But at his 2 months, we were talking to his doctor, and we don't see a point in polio especially over anything. And the Hep B, we had justifications. Now, hindsight, we know there's no justification for any of them, but, it is what it is. So we didn't want Hep B and we didn't want polio, and our doctor was fine with that. So we were only thinking that he was going to get the DTaP, the pneumococcal, and the rotavirus, right? So, in the Hib, right? So I think there was supposed to be 3 vials, and then the rotavirus. I'm trying to think back. But I looked at his medical records actually probably about 6 months ago, and he got the whole recombinant vaccine. So he got the whole polio, Hep B, DTaP, and Hib. So he got all of that. And I was just so frustrated because I was like, I specifically said to these people, I did not want my son to have the polio vaccine or to have the hepatitis vaccine. And were they not communicating with each other? Did they think that they could just pull one over on us? And we didn't think we were going to look at the shots, which we didn't. Like, it just frustrates me that there was no true informed consent. There was no transparency whatsoever. And that happens, and it chafes my freaking arse that doctors and nurses get away with it, Yeah. So I'm really trying to get...
And they divorce you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Thank God our pediatrician was, he was, after a little bit of persuasion, he was okay with us not. But yes, I've heard of horror stories where they were literally just send you a letter and say, well, we can't see you anymore.
Ours called us. We were literally pulling in the driveway after 7 weeks in the ER with our daughter after they hurt her. I'm literally pulling in the driveway, coming home after all of this. My daughter's still pale as a ghost, still sick, pulling in the driveway, and they call me, Miss Barron, we just wanted to let you know that we're no longer going to be seeing Lily. And for further any kind of appointment, she really should just see the Center for Infectious Disease at Children's in Birmingham. I was like, are you freaking kidding me? Oh, yeah. So it's like, you hurt her, then you call me and you tell me from now on you just need to take her here for anything she needs, which is an hour from my home, mind you. And and also, when you go into those kind of places, you are literally putting a child with neutropenia at major risk.
Yes, because she is the immunocompromised that shouldn't be vaccinated and be around those who are freshly vaccinated with live viruses, right?
Yes, and they put the neutropenic kids in the same as the cancer ward. They put the hematology and oncology together. So you've just got this huge room of all of our kids with their masks on sitting there together like none of us should be sitting here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
really, like, we put her in the stroller and we just walk the hallways and we don't allow her to touch anything if we ever have to go for blood work or go have to do any kind of, like, CBC numbers or any of that kind of stuff. I mean, we don't allow her to touch anything.
Yeah, I would.
It's a long experience.
But you got to be. But still, look at you though. Even though your daughter is so immunocompromised and so fragile, you still don't vaccinate because you know how dangerous they are.
Right.
And you know that it's garbage and that her immune system would do better without it.
a live virus vaccine could kill her. And they told me this straight up. This was what blew my mind. The first doctors were trying to convince me she had to have vaccines from here on out or she would die. And then the hematologist looked me straight in my eyes and she said, Miss Barron, you were really on to something. And if she was to get a live virus vaccine, that could kill her because she could end up with that virus and it would be detrimental to her, unlike most healthy children.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you know, every little, and, you know, she told me, this is where it blew my, I told Paul Offit this in the air and he did not dispute this. She told me, now, the vaccines that are not supposed to be live virus vaccines still have live viruses in them that aren't even viruses that belong in the vaccine. They are like little piggyback viruses that ended up in there. So, I mean, this is through manufacturing and stuff like that, not clean equipment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's crazy the things that they tell you. And then, you know, but if you get them in a group of their colleagues, they act like you're crazy.
Well, yeah, of course, because, you know, they don't want to get death threats. They don't want to be the odd man out. You know, they don't want to be the taboo, crazy person. I mean, I get the logic, but I can't stand it. I would never be able to stay silent or stay complacent,
Thank you.
You know what I know, or it's just you're basically
we're a bit of rebels anyway. I can tell by looking at you. You got a little rebel in you too. I can tell. I said I can tell you got a little rebel in you naturally anyway.
Oh, girl, I'm feisty. I was born and raised in Southern California, so I'm feisty.
SoCal.
One. Yep, SoCal. Yep, 909.
Well, I can't wait to meet you finally. I'm excited. I can't wait to meet you.
I wanted to come to Atlanta in February, but you know, I got my two little ones, and my husband works just so much, and I just wasn't able to get out there. But I'm super excited to finally meet you. Yes, absolutely. Yes, and anybody who's able to come, June ASIP is going to be June 26th and 27th, and they still haven't put up registration, CDC. Amanda Cohen.
Right? Yeah, Amanda Cohen, it would be great if we could end the standoff, right? It would be great if we could end the standoff. I know what's happening here. They know. They watch my page. They already told me. They know I'm going to put up my inundate the CDC invite as soon as they throw up the damn registration. And so we're in this, like, you know, standoff right now. And if I end the standoff, then I don't know what's going to happen here. But, I mean, I'm really getting frustrated because, I mean, even Paul Offit messaged me yesterday. I am not crapping you. And he said, Lynette, do you know when registration's going up? I'm usually able to register by now. Like, this is weird. What did you do? It was like,
oh, my God.
You know,
he's messaging you for advice? Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm laughing. I was like, well, I don't really know, but I had all my warrior friends call to action and blow up Amanda Cohen, so I guess I'll let you know what happens and when registration goes up.
That's great. That's awesome.
But you see, you know what? Him and I are at this point where he was pissed off about the velvet rope just as much as I was, and we made this pact that he told me he'd cross the rope and sit next to me, and he said if he's there first, he'll save me a seat and vice versa. So we'll see if he sticks to that. But that's what he told me because he said them putting up the velvet rope was really messed up because it made it where the two groups feel like they can no longer correspond during the breaks during the meeting, which is not okay. So it really, and it made it seem more like savages or something, and they were posting up the cops right at the rope, like, don't you dare cross this rope.
Yeah, it wasn't there, like, heightened security this time and everything? Like,
oh, man, it was beyond heightened, and they sticked them on me like bulldogs.
The stigma of anti-vaxxers, it's like, and if you look just, like, in a comparison of how people react towards each other, the quote-unquote pro-vaccine people are so much worse than the quote-unquote anti-vaccine people. They're the ones who are wishing death on babies and threatening people's lives. You know, I mean, the parents of vaccinating their children might get a little bit, you know, passionate sometimes, but I very rarely see violence, if ever, threatened. You know what I mean? Towards anybody that's
and if you do,
on the pro-vaccine
if you see
side.
something. Yeah, and if you see something on our side, usually if you go and you approach that person in a kind way, you can help them kind of see what's going on, and you can kind of feel them out. You know, I've had people tell me, Lynette, I'm honestly broken. I am bleeding at the seams. I am hurting so bad, and this is the only way I know how to let that part out. And I'm like, you know what I do? I take it out in traffic. I am not kidding. People my kids, anybody who rides with me, they know. The one time I'm crazy in life is in traffic. It's the one time I can yell at people, cuss at people. I'm telling you, I'm being honest with everybody. I'm telling you the truth. I lead with love everywhere I go except for in traffic. That's the God's honest truth because you got to let it out somewhere.
Nice. Oh, man, I'm the worst at road rage. I love your candor.
On the street.
It's awesome. You better
if you
watch
see me on the street, look out.
Over.
That's right. That's right. Y'all
pull
be like,
over,
oh, man,
through.
Lynette is crazy. Lynette is crazy.
Oh, that's great.
But I drive like a race car driver.
Drivers out here, so you're
I was
gonna have
at this
to get...
little, I'm telling you.
Go ahead.
I was at this little place down here, and this lady said, Lynette, you drive that Suburban like it's a Miata. I was like, heck yeah, girl, drive it like you stole it. Goodness.
We just got an SUV. We just got an SUV actually recently, a few weeks ago. And before that, I was driving a Pontiac. I was driving a Grand Prix. And so, I'll try to like get up and go when I'm getting on the freeway, and it's just not the same. Or, I have road rage too, so I'll weave in and out of traffic, and it's just not the same because I can't maneuver the way I used to with my Grand Prix. Her name was Stella. I named her Stella, so I couldn't maneuver the way I could with Stella, and it was just. It's sad me a little bit. Nice. I haven't named this new one yet.
Look,
it's a crossover,
I got this
actually, so I need to think of something.
Oh, I've got this teal 1969 Ford Fairlane, and I'm like, what am I? I'm gonna name it like Guadalupe or something like that.
Yes, I saw that you got that. I was so excited that you were able to get that car. And that gentleman was
still trying to get it finished working on it. Oh, it's so hard. Single mom crap, girl. You know how it is. I'm like borrowing tools. Man, it's bad. It's rad, girl. I'm like, oh yes.
But you have it though, and when it's all together, it's gonna be awesome.
I know, and you know what I'm gonna do? Everybody thinks I'm crazy. I love the patina, so I'm seriously going to get the holographic glitter and clear coat with holographic glitter over the teal and the rust, like straight up. It's going to be netted out.
Nice. I remember growing up, like I said, I grew up in Southern California, so I grew up right off Route 66. So I remember growing up, they used to every year they used to have the Route 66 festival, and there was just hundreds upon hundreds of amazing, just gorgeous classic cars.
Wow.
Oh man, it was so much fun. I just remember that, man. I was just sitting here thinking about that. Oh, good times back in the 90s.
See, I love them because my brother, I grew up with only my brother as like my real only family member, and he had a thing for cars, and he would literally trade in his all the time, fix them up, trade them in again, fix them up. And so, he just kind of got me really into them. I know how to do drum brakes. I know how to do so many things just from being with my brother. And so, just classic cars just seemed like it was the right fit for me. And this one just screams my name. It's my favorite color. And it's got, it's mom size, 4-door, it's like. Yeah. And the guy was so sweet. Oh, yeah. And the guy was like 7 streets up from me. He's an older gentleman. I don't know if his wife passed or not. He kind of seems lonely. But he does race cars in his 50s, like, builds his own race cars. So I was like, you know what, one day if I get brave enough, I may just ask him to come help me work on it because he knows the cars in his family for, like, decades. So.
Oh, well, that would be fun. And I'm sure he would.
Yeah, I think, and honestly, I love making friends with people who otherwise seem like, he even told me when I was buying it, he was like, until you pay it off with me, feel free to come work on it here. I'm home in the evenings, no problem. And I was like, I think he's lonely.
Aww.
Poor feller.
Oh, well, that's nice of him.
Well, something for the listeners to know. I told you I had my first date last week with a guy, first time since my divorce. I have my second date follow-up tomorrow. Yes, I have a follow-up date tomorrow. He is a power lifter, y'all. Oh, my goodness. He benches like 600. Holy smokes.
What's his name?
His name is Josh. He's a very, very handsome fella. He's got a heart made of gold. He power lifts to raise money for terminally ill children. Oh, be still my heart. Yes, and he's just a big teddy bear. Oh yeah, teddy bear. So I don't know if God was just looking out for me or what, but I stay to myself. Everybody knows that. I am so closed off. I stay to myself. I haven't been on dates. I haven't done any of that. And just something was like, you know what? You gotta give this one a chance. Get back out there, girl. So. It's pretty awesome. It's nice. Girl. I know, that's my buddy Jessica Van Heart. She was like, get it, girl. Go out there, have some fun. Shoot, we ain't done yet. It's like, You are correct. I am not dead yet. Amen to that, sister.
No, you're just beginning to live, so.
Yeah, amen. Just for everybody's knowledge, there is a date number 2. Woot woot.
I am praying for you, girl. Fingers crossed. What are you guys doing?
I'm telling
you guys going to dinner?
I think we're going to go to a park and just like enjoy, we like, I don't know, our first date, let me tell y'all, this is my best first date of my life, and we never left the bench on my front porch.
Nice.
Like we meant to go out, but we just talked so much that all the hours passed, and it was like, oh goodness, it's about to be, you got to go. You know what I mean? Like we didn't make it to dinner. We didn't make it anywhere. We just sat there and enjoyed talking. So yeah, it was pretty crazy. So yeah, so hopefully we'll actually make it off my doorstep tomorrow. But I think we're going to go to like a botanical gardens or something.
Oh, that
maybe go
fun.
to botanical gardens. Yeah, got to get out in nature.
Yeah, I know. I saw that the weather's starting to get nice, and yeah, definitely.
I know. I love it here. Yeah, out here it's like super spring. Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'm just so
excited.
It's like 60 degrees out here today. It's crazy.
You know how it is as an autism mom. Yeah, you know how it is an autism mom. But when you find when I told him I had a daughter who had autism, severe autism, those kind of things, usually it's you think the man's gonna book it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, I can't wait to meet her. It's like, oh my Lord, like what?
Man.
So yeah, I don't know. It's pretty trippy. So the Lord works in mysterious ways. I'll keep my listeners involved because y'all know how I am. Everybody's probably been involved in my life ever since I've been on the air for 2.5, almost 3 years. So.
Nice.
Oh, my goodness. I love my people, though. But, Amber, I love you so much. Thank you so much for calling in today. You are amazing.
Yeah,
I cannot wait to see you. And
I'm super excited.
Keep each other uplifted.
Yes, amen. Thank you so much for having me, Lynette, and I'll talk to you soon, okay, girl?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. All right, you guys, don't forget that is in Wisconsin State Capitol, May 18th. We will be there. I will be speaking. Erin Marie RN will be speaking. Caitlin RN will be speaking. Dr. Dale Brown will be speaking. Man, there's just going to be a ton of amazing people. So you guys don't want to miss it. Get out there and support your medical freedom.
It's going to be amazing. Be there or be square.
Yes.
Madison State Capitol.
Amen.
Yeah. Bye, girl.
All right, girl. I'll talk to you later. All right, you guys, you were listening to Forsaken Generation. Sorry for the colorful language a little bit earlier. I'm a little bit amped up today, you guys. We've got Dr. Gilles coming on. I hope I say his last name right. I don't know if it's LaMarche or LaMarche, so I guess he'll have to correct me. I was hoping Anu would get me straight the first hour, but Anu is nowhere to be found. So, Anu, I don't know where you are, my dear friend, but you are missing the show today. 12 minutes left until Dr. Gilles should be calling in, and we will hit a commercial break and bring him into the show, and I'm sure it'll get even more interesting for everybody. Thank you for calling in, Amber. I love you so much. This is so exciting. I love getting out and telling the truth, and this will probably be the biggest thing I've gotten out and spoken at probably in my life. So, yeah, woohoo, you guys. I always have a lot to say, and like I said, they have invited me to also sing. So, Lou, I'm going to be singing out there for you, girlfriend. Lou is Lou Drago. Lori does my buddy, and she's always telling me to sing one. So I'm going to get out there and sing for everybody. So we'll make it really interesting. Old school, olden days, they used to sing at their rallies, and they used to, actually lock arms and it used to be a beautiful thing, and I really think that it was a nice show of unity, and it was just lovely. So, yeah, I don't know about First Freedoms Live today. I haven't seen anything from them. I haven't heard from Anu. I have no idea, Lou. Everything has just been kind of crazy. It seems like, well, I know our censorship has gotten so steep. I can barely share things. We made a Freedom Readers group, if everybody remembers that. And it is, I can't even get in there to do anything. When I try to post in there, it says I can't post. When I try to comment, it says I can't comment. So it's kind of hard to run a book club when it won't let you do anything. So anybody who joined that and is wondering what happened, that is what happened to that. So, it's just been... It's been a lot, you guys. I want to thank everybody who's tuning in today. Like I said, Gilles will be joining me in just a little bit, or Dr. Gilles. Let me get a little bit more appropriate here. My bad, y'all. I think if everybody is my buddy and my friend, I don't things in this, I guess the way most people do. But I got to meet Dr. Gilles, and he is just such an amazing man. He is the vice president of Life University, and he was just such a sweet guy. I love when a man matches his socks to his tie, and he was definitely on point. And he just had such a character and personality. You could tell that he also comes from a place of love and care, and and just mercy and what for humanity. And I just thought he had such a beautiful personality, and he had a story to tell. And so, we were at Life University for ASIP for the live taping of the High Wire with Del Bigtree and his crew. And so when I met Gilles, we decided to invite him to do the show today and be able to tell his story in full, because he said that he has a very interesting story and that he would love to be able to share it. So I told him I would love to have him on to be able to tell it to my listeners and anybody else who would like to tune in to hear his story, because this is how people, this also helps other people recognize that maybe that they've been through something similar and they're like, oh, my goodness, that happened to me. Is that why? And they can look back through their medical records and they can figure things out. So it's very interesting when you share your story, how it can affect other people. Also, not only just giving them cautions, but also helping people realize maybe something that they didn't realize before. So I always love having people come on and share their stories and how they got where they are. And he seems like a very, very awake person, and just like I said, such a bubbly personality. I love people like this because it's, it's right up my alley. Definitely why I'm amped up today. It's a lot like the way that I am. He just seems to come from such a place of love and care, and I just love that. So very excited to have him join me. And Anu, I don't know where you are, sidekick, but I'm going to kick you in the booty when I see you. I know he's probably at the Cornerstones of Freedom, but a text would be nice. I'm just saying, y'all. Y'all know me. Tell it like it is. Yes, I know, Lou. I'm so upset that they won't let me do the Freedom Reader Book Club. This is on Facebook. Facebook is censoring like crazy. Every time I've tried to post in there, tried to do anything in there, it won't let me. So I'm not sure what I'm supposed to do with that one. I might have to take it down and redo it, or just give it a minute. Maybe they'll quit censoring. I have no idea. But even trying to share the show for this week with Gilles, it only allowed me to share at 47 shares, and it usually gives me 500, or 47 invites, and it usually gives me 500. So they're definitely censoring the show this week, which is sad because this is an amazing show. So hopefully after the show is over, maybe it'll be able to spread again and get to more people through the archived link, because it's really frustrating to me when we work this hard and we go to the links we do and we bring in the people that we do to have on the show. And then, we end up with them censoring it and keeping us from being able to invite as many people as possible to tune in. If y'all can hear the meltdown in the background, I do apologize. That is Jazzy Poo, and she is having a rough day today. She did sleep really good last night. She slept with Mama, and so not sure why she is having a meltdown right now. Hopefully that Lala will get that under control. Oh, goodness. Hard to focus sometimes, you guys, the little ones. I do run this out of my house. I don't have somewhere to run my show from. I do all of this from my bedroom on a little headset and my desktop and my cell phone. So, this is, you get what you get. Sometimes you might get kids in the background, but that's the life of a vaccine-injured mother. And, I can't really apologize for that. I didn't create it. I just have to deal with it. Oh, goodness, my coffee's getting cold, y'all. Oh, all right. Got my cranberry juice. We'll be all right. You got to chase coffee with cranberry juice. Got to get those kidneys back in order. Oh, man. Secrets to staying alive. All right, you guys. So, anyway, like I said, we've only got a few more minutes. We'll hit a commercial break about now. I'm sure Gilles will be calling in just a few, hopefully. Hopefully he remembers the time zone difference. And we'll be getting him on the air with me and getting his interview going. So you guys just hang in there. I'm super excited today. It has just been, wow, what a week. I'm so proud of all of you. If you are tuning in today, Thank you for getting out there. Thank you for doing what you're doing. Thank you for being a voice for the voiceless. Thank you for getting out there for your kids, my kids, everybody else's kids. Thank you for getting out there for even the opposition who doesn't appreciate what you're doing right now, because one day they will. And please remember to come from a place of love and mercy and kindness. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. I'm begging you. You know, I mean, this is how you win the war, people. This is how you win the war. This is how you make those bridges in human. You know, you really do have to find a way to common ground in order to wake people up. I mean, it's just the way it goes. Oh, goodness. It's a lot. I know it is. I know it's a lot to carry. It's a lot to be a part of. Some days it feels like, holy crap, what am I doing? Am I crazy? But I couldn't walk away from this if you offered me $1 trillion. You could offer me $1 trillion, and I would say no thank you, because I know I'm where I belong, and I know I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And at the end of the day, that's what counts, and that's what matters. And you guys who are out here doing it, you're out here for the same reasons. You're out here because you belong here, and God put you here, and you are a vessel, and don't forget that. And if you get discouraged, message me, because I love you. And if I get discouraged, I'll message you, and I hope you're there for me too. I got some messages yesterday. Thank you, Shayla Tiger, because those were really uplifting. And it's beautiful to have somebody say things like that to you, and it really does help you keep going and understand that you are influencing people and you are making a difference and that your words do matter. And it's just a nice thing to hear. So thank you for that. All right, you guys, we're going to go to a quick commercial break, and I hope by the time I'm done, we have Dr. Gilles in the dashboard. So you guys just hang in there and listen to these woke commercials, and we shall be right back.
Vaccines are required for students, employees, immigrants, military members, and international travel. Do you know how to legally avoid them? This is vaccine rights attorney and Freedomizer radio host Alan Phillips. My vaccine exemption ebook can help you avoid the mistakes that have cost others their exemption rights. Get the authoritative guide to vaccine legal exemptions, an ebook available at freedomizerradio.com and vaccinerights.com.
Let freedom ring throughout the land.
You're an activist. You have a cause and an idea, but you also have lots of questions. You need help. After all, teams have coaches, corporations have consultants, and even politicians have campaign managers. But who do activists turn to? The Solutions Institute. We are a collection of professionals and activists from across the political spectrum. Our goal is to teach, motivate, and put all the necessary tools for activism in your hands without charge. Learn more or submit your project at solutions-institute.org.
You know the Constitution like the back of your hand. You've read books, listened to podcasts, attended lectures, surfed websites, and watched videos. You've made liberty your life's goal, but something seems to be missing. Stickers from LibertyStickers.com. Exercise your freedom of speech with the world's most dangerous bumper stickers. That's LibertyStickers.com. But wait, there's more. You can buy Liberty Stickers wholesale. Get them for 99 cents each when you put 100 or more in your shopping cart in any combination. Sell them or give them away. They're great for gun shows, flea markets, fairs, outreach, and more. Earn extra money, promote freedom, and spread the word. Need custom stickers, labels, or decals for your organization or business? Liberty Stickers makes them. Go to LibertyStickers.com to order or call 877-873-9626. LibertyStickers.com, the world's most dangerous stickers.
All right, you guys, you are listening to Forsaken Generation on Freedomizer Radio. I am your host, Lynette Marie Barron, and I now have Dr. Gilles. I don't want to say your last name wrong, so I want to let you say it.
Well, my first name is Gilles, and my second name is LaMarche. Gilles LaMarche, little French-Canadian, now living in Atlanta, Georgia.
Awesome. Well, welcome to the show. I'm so excited to have you.
Happy to be with you, Lynette. Thank you for inviting me.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, when I met you at Life, when we were there for the taping of Highwire, I just, I heard you speaking. You were talking about your story, and I thought, you know what, I would love to have you be a guest on my platform and be able to tell it in full and You're just such an amazing person, and you exude, your aura is amazing. I've just absolutely loved you. I just love people who you can feel the love and light come from, and you are one of those people.
I wake up every single morning. When I wake up, the first words that I consciously input into my brain are I will greet this day with love in my heart, every person, every situation, every circumstance, because I choose to make my life sacred. And so what you felt is a consequence of that choice that I obviously made that morning, but I've been making that choice every morning for probably 30 years now. Those are the first words that I consciously input into my brain in the morning. And they're similar words that I input in my brain as I fall asleep at night. So the last words that I consciously input in my brain at night is, tomorrow when I awaken, I will greet the day with love in my heart, every person, every situation, every circumstance. And so I'm able to go to sleep with a sense of peace, if you like. And because I go to sleep that way, I actually awaken that way. And it's 100% due to trained behavior. I've actually trained my mind so I wake up with an open heart every single day.
Yes, well, that's beautiful. I'm going to start doing that myself. You've inspired me, because this is the same, kind of life that I try to live, and I'd always try to come from a place of love and understanding and mercy for people. I mean, I told you, I think when we met, I interviewed Paul Offit for 2 hours, and that's, because I can show the enemy love and mercy, and I try not to judge people, I mean, you hate the bad deed, not the man,
Right. And it's interesting you just used the word that I utilize a number of times when I'm interviewing people for positions at Life University, or I'm chatting with people all over. So one of the greatest qualities you could help yourself develop is to become non-judgmental. I can't walk in somebody else's shoes, and so and that's also trained, right? You learned that behavior over time by training yourself to think that way. And if ever I catch myself judging someone for whatever I'm seeing, whether it's a physical look or something they say, I step back, and because of what I consciously input in my brain in the morning, I bring myself back to that exact thought that I had in the morning. It was like, okay, so you were just judging that person for whatever reason. But this morning when you woke up, you said you would greet the day with love in your heart for every person, every situation, every circumstance. So could you choose to let go of that judgment and just embrace that individual in front of you? And because you make the choice in the morning, then you can, instead of beating myself up and say, oh, you're an idiot, why are you judging that person, etc., I forgive myself immediately. I just go back to, this is the choice I made this morning, and if that's how I want to live my life, judging that person for doing whatever he or she just did is not going to allow me to live my life that way. So I consequently am able to give that up and forgive myself and just move into that state of love again. It's the most beautiful place to be, and I'll tell you, it's where healing happens too. If we talked about the human nervous system, what we know is that healing and creativity and love and peace and bliss all live in the parasympathetic nervous system, not part of the sympathetic nervous system. Sympathetic is when you react. You've all heard of the fight or flight system. So when people live in this fight or flight, and they're constantly in fight or flight, they don't get to experience, the beauty that surrounds them every single moment. And so you don't get to live in gratitude. And what I tell people, if you really focus on living with joy, love, and gratitude, you will maintain yourself in a parasympathetic state. And when you need sympathetic, because all of a sudden somebody cuts you off in traffic and you need to respond quickly to avoid an accident, you'll go into sympathetic. And if you don't allow yourself to go into judgment, then you'll go back to parasympathetic, and that's where you're going to thrive. So people thrive in parasympathetic. We do not thrive in sympathetic. And, it's something I work daily at maintaining. And I know you wanted me to share my health story, so I'm happy to do that because it's probably a good segue.
Well, I was just going to tell you, yes, sir. I just wanted to tell you, you do a beautiful job of it because as you've met me, I get judged quite a bit for the way I look, and I did not feel judged by you at all. I honestly just felt very welcomed and very at peace in your presence, and I just thought you were a very harmonious and wonderful person. I was so happy to meet you. So
I don't know if my wife would say that I do that every day, but I think my children would tell you I behave that way. I think my team here at Life University would tell you, yeah, I behave that way. And again, it's a choice. I was not always that way. And when I started discovering that we really were in charge of our feelings by being in charge of our thoughts, and I was like, okay, that's a neat concept. And it took me a number of years to evolve into being who I am now, of course. But I mean, I learned that from my first mentor in the chiropractic world when I met him in 1977. And it's interesting, just before I got on the phone with you, I had called a friend of mine in California that I hadn't spoken to in probably, 6-8 months, and it's his birthday today. And he called me right back, and we reflected on the fact that we actually met at this event in New York City in 1977. We were both university students still, and how that man impacted us. But his philosophy was one of loving service, my first technique. He said, everybody wants to know how to do things. He said, so if you make loving service something that you do, then in time you will actually become that. And I was like, interesting concept. It was the first time I'd ever heard that in 1977. And I started, following him as a mentor and started listening to what he said. And when you envelop this concept of loving service for everyone and anyone you'll interact with, whether it's an airline steward or a cashier at Kroger's or Whole Foods or wherever you're shopping, if you interact with people and you come from this space of love in your heart, wow, the experiences that you get to live are completely different, aren't they?
Amen.
Yeah,
yes,
it's an awesome space. And as much as I've worked to maintain this parasympathetic state, rather, there's no doubt that at some point in my life I got into a heavy sympathetic state. I was an extremely busy practitioner, and I was go all day long. And I rarely took time for myself. I rarely took time to stop and meditate, and I really took time to stop and smell the roses. So I had, my practice, and I had my 3 children as a single father, and that was it. That was my entire life, taking care of 3 kids and, taking care of hundreds of people every week in my practice. And in the spring of 2000, one of my hobbies that I would do, with my kids or sometimes with myself, just go for a little run. And I would love to run in nature. And I go out for, not a long run. I go out for 2-3 miles just to stay fresh and to stay in shape. And in the spring of 2000, I started having trouble breathing. And I thought, well, I'm obviously allergic to something. And I know I'm allergic to animal hair, cats and dogs particularly, and horses. And when I'm around an animal like that, I get this deep sort of pressure in my chest. And so there I was getting that pressure in my chest while I was out running. And so I assumed that I was allergic to something in nature. It was springtime, there was pollen, and I didn't have like pollen allergies, but I was getting this sensation in my chest. So I did what every normal, not very smart male would do. I just stopped running. And I say that jokingly, not very smart male, because often we don't pay attention to things like that. So even as a doctor, I didn't pay attention to it. I was like, well, I only have trouble breathing when I'm running, so I'm just going to stop running. If I don't run, I'm not having any problems. And I didn't dig deeper. In the spring of 2003, one of my team members at the office put her hands on my shoulders, and she was shaking, and she had tears in her eyes, and she said, "I'm so afraid you're going to die in front of me." And I said, "What are you talking about?" She said, "Well, listen to yourself breathing." She said, "You sound terrible." She said, "And I don't want to be disrespectful, Doc, but you look terrible, like you've aged 10 years in the past 6 months. There's got to be something seriously wrong with you." And of course, again, male, attempting to justify, I said, no, I'm fine. Don't worry about it at all. I said, I'm trying to figure out what I'm allergic to, and so once I figure it out, I'll solve that. I'll be fine. And so I went through, an elimination diet. Excuse me. I fasted for 5 days, water only, and then I started reintroducing foods to see if a food would trigger me. And over a period of whatever that had been prior to her talking to me that way, I think I was probably 15 days in, and honestly, I haven't found that trigger yet. And then I had hired, I had a housekeeper that kept our house super clean, but I hired an eco-friendly company to actually come in and literally clean the house clean a clean house from floor to ceiling. We had cathedral ceilings, and I had them do the entire house, and it cost a ridiculous amount of money. But they did all this with eco-friendly products. That didn't change anything at all either. So anyway, that day when she said that, I was still trying to figure all this out. But she was a lot smarter than I, and she called my best buddy, who happened to be a medical doctor, who I had never gone to see as a medical doctor. And that night he called. His name is Barry, and really good friend. My kids are in their 30s now, and they still call him Uncle Barry. And his kids are also in their 30s. They call me Uncle Gilles, kind of idea. That type of deep, deep, deep friendship. So she called Barry, and he called me that night, and he said, hey, if I had made a promise to someone, and you were the only person in the world who could help me fulfill my promise, would you do whatever it takes? I said, of course I would. That's what friends do. He said, great, I'll see you tomorrow in my house at 4 o'clock. And he hung up the phone. Because he knew the paradigm I lived in, right? I lived in a paradigm that is no needles, no lotions, no potions, how I say it. I've never taken pharmaceutical drugs, never had shots other than when I was a kid. But when I was old enough to start making my own decisions and I understood that the power that made the human body heals the body, I went 100% natural route, making sure my nervous system functioned well, making sure I saw a chiropractor regularly for that particular reason, not because I had pain in my spine and my back and my neck, but because I wanted my nervous system to function well.
Right.
And so I ended up going to see Barry because I made him a promise that night. And over a period of a few months, from the tests that I did with him onto a local cardiologist, pulmonologist, then onto the regional people at a regional center that was bigger than where my little town is in northern Canada, then went on to sort of the Academia of Cardiology through the University of Toronto, which is sort of the mecca, if you like, in Canada. And every doctor I saw told me I had an incurable condition called primary pulmonary hypertension, and has nothing to do with high blood pressure. It is increased pressure between your lungs and your heart. So your heart, you might remember, your heart is made up of 4 chambers, right? There's the right side, 2 chambers, the atrium and ventricle, and the blood gets pumped from the right side through the lungs, where it gets new oxygen, carbon dioxide is removed, then gets pushed into the left side of the heart, and from the left side of the heart it's distributed to the body as, newly oxygenated blood. So the pressure pushing from my lungs into the right side of my heart was measured at 57 millimeters mercury of pressure. Not that that means that much to anybody listening in, but it is 4 times greater than what it's supposed to be. So when the heart pumps, it pumps at approximately 15 millimeters mercury of pressure. So it pumps, there's a little bit of resistance, it puts the blood into the lungs, CO2 is removed, oxygen is put in, gets dumped into the left side of the heart, then gets distributed to the rest of your body, brain, organs, etc. So my pressure was 4 times greater. What we know is that the human body has this amazing capacity to adapt to stressors. And the stress that I was experiencing, my body adapted by causing my heart to grow to 2.5 times its normal size. So my suspicion is that, back in early 2000 when I started getting those symptoms, until, 2003, let's say, my heart continued to grow. I didn't know that. It was happening innately. That's what the body was doing. It was adapting. And then it got to the point where I was having trouble breathing just working, seeing patients in my office. So as a chiropractor, you move people around, And so I got diagnosed with primary pulmonary hypertension and this condition called cardiomegaly at 2.5. So my heart, just imagine, 2.5 times bigger than normal. And it got to the point where there was no more room in my chest cavity for my heart to expand anymore. The lungs take up a great part, the heart takes up the rest, and now it couldn't go anywhere. So the symptoms just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse. And all the way through from my best friend telling me that I needed a double lung and heart transplant, which I thought was absolutely absurd. I said, I'm 48 years old. I've been in good shape most of my life. How could I possibly need a double lung and heart transplant? And he said, these are the testing. I reviewed it. I researched it for myself. I spoke to a lot of people. And then, like I said, I went on to the regional center, then to the national center for heart disease. And they told me exactly the same thing. You need a double lung and heart transplant or you'll be dead in 2 years or less. And in doing my research, I did discover that the majority of people have about a 24-month prognosis. If they usually die 24 months or earlier. So there I was, 48 years old, and sort of at a crossroads in my life. And I read all the research I had to read on it, and then made a conscious decision that I would not go through a double lung and heart transplant. What they were telling me is that I had the chance of living 5 years with a transplant, 2 years without. And I thought, if God had made my body to have a transplant, he would have put a zipper on my chest. Like, I just didn't see myself going through the trauma, the anti-rejection medication, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. He said, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can with the last 2 years of my life. And I sat down. I had a talk with my children. They were all in college at the time. They were all living away from home. And they were super supportive. They said, if that's the choice you make and you die, of course, we'll miss you, but we will respect whatever choice you make. And I thought, it's pretty cool for young kids. I mean, young kids, they were, between 18 and 21, I think, at the time. So I made that conscious choice. I found somebody to take over my practice. So between the day that I made that conscious choice and leaving my practice on the 14th of April in 2004, I succumbed to the half-hourly use of Ventolin. So every 30 minutes while I was in my practice, I would pump Ventolin into my body so I could breathe long enough to see the next group of patients. I absolutely loved being a chiropractor. I had a huge practice, and it was like, leaving my baby. I knew I had to go, but I didn't really want to go. But I did find somebody to take over my practice. On the 14th of April in 2004, I went home to do my final preparations. At that point, I could no longer go up a flight of stairs by myself. I couldn't walk 100 feet unaided unless I was pumping Ventolin in my chest. And it was an awful feeling. I felt like I wanted to rip the skin off my body. It was so uncomfortable. And I did what people do when they know they're going to die. I prepared my funeral. I spoke with, I did all that. I chose the songs I sang at my funeral because I wanted it to be a happy thing. I didn't want people to be crying and all broken. I was like, I had a beautiful life. I mean, I had a blessed life. I've had such a great life. God's calling me home. I just want everybody to know I'm okay with that. I'm not upset with it. I'm not mad at God. It's just the way it is, and I'm okay. So I did all of that over, the first couple of weeks. And then really I rested because if I didn't put Ventolin in my body, I couldn't do very much. And like I said, my 3 kids were away at college, so I was really at home by myself. And, I read, but I slept probably 16 hours a day, 18 hours a day. My body was just tired. And then on the 15th of May, 31 days later, I woke up, and the first thought that came into my head was, you must be a beep, beep idiot. I'm not going to tell you what the beep, beep were because they weren't very nice words. They were not loving words to myself. You must be an idiot, because you've been preaching this chiropractic paradigm of health and healing for 25 years while in practice. You talk about the master system being, the neurological system that actually manages all other systems, including the cardiovascular system. There's got to be something seriously wrong with your spinal nervous system. And then my next thought was, well, how could there be? I see a chiropractor every week or two. And then the third thought was really what woke me up because I was not a practice member in any chiropractor's practice. It's almost like a plumber with a leaky faucet. You take care of your faucet last. What I was is that I would go out for lunch with a buddy who was a chiropractor, and I'd say, hey, you want to go to my office, or I'll go to your office, and you can check me, and I'll check you. And so I was getting what I would refer to now as way substandard care, and certainly care much lower in standard than what my practice members were receiving. So when all the noise died down in my head, I realized I had not had a thorough examination in probably 20 years of my spine and nervous system. And I was like, wow, what an idiot you are. You teach that to everybody else. You haven't even done that for yourself. So instead of, beating myself up and judging myself, I was like, okay, you made a mistake. Just get on the phone and call and make an appointment and go get your spine and nervous system checked. So which is what I did. Because as I said to you, I became one who doesn't judge anybody. And there I was judging myself, right, for having been what I was calling myself as an idiot. So I made an appointment, went to see this couple that had bought my practice. And, of course, my former staff was working there. And when I called my former office manager, I said, I want an appointment as a new patient. She laughed at me. She was like, you had chiropractic in your life for, like, years. I said, yeah, I know. And then I explained to her what I just explained to you now. And she was like, oh, my gosh, you're right. So anyway, I went into their office, and after a very thorough consultation, examination, x-rays, nerve scan, et cetera, what was discovered is that my spine looked pretty good and pretty healthy except for one section, which is C7, which is the seventh cervical vertebra. So if you put your head on top of your head, put your hand on top of your head, a flat palm if you like, and you bring it all the way back down towards your neck, as you get to the end of your skull, that's C1. It's the first cervical. Then there's 7. So if you keep moving your hand, when you get to that big bump, just where your neck meets your back, if you like, that's C7. So my spine was a mess from C7 down 4 more levels. So C7, T1, T2, T3, T4. Everything above C7 looked good. Everything below T4 looked good. But that entire area was fixated almost as hard as a piece of wood. And didn't really look like 5 vertebrae, one on top of the other. Well, that's problematic because the nerves that actually control the function of the heart and lungs actually exit the spine from T1 to T4. And for the lay public listening in, that might help. This is how I usually teach what chiropractors do, because a lot of people have no idea what chiropractors do. A lot of your listeners today probably have no idea what chiropractors do. They say, well, I'd go to a chiropractor if I had a pain in my neck or my back, but I don't, so I don't go. Well, I wanted you to know I had no pain in my neck and no pain in my back, but my spine from C7 to T4 looked like a complete mess. So the questions that I ask people when they ask me, so what do chiropractors do? I'll go back to them with a question. I say, well, if you think back to, let's say, high school science class, what do you remember your teacher telling you is the most important system in the human body? And the number one answer that I get from the majority of people, and honestly, if we were playing Family Feud in Atlanta today, the number one answer we'd get again is the heart. Most people believe the heart is the most important system in the human body. And so because I asked that question, I never want to make anybody wrong, I asked the question, what do you remember your teacher telling you? And when they tell me the heart, I said, you're right. It's probably what your teacher taught you. I said, could I ask you a couple more questions? Of course, they always say yes. And then I said, well, you look like you're in pretty good shape. Did you ever notice that when you exercise, that your heart beats faster, your lungs breathe quicker, you start to sweat? There's changes that are happening to navigate the change that's occurring while you're running or weightlifting or doing yoga, whatever you're doing. And everybody says, well, yeah, I noticed that. I said, well, what tells your body to do that? Most people look at me and go, I don't know. And then my other questions I ask is, I'm going to assume you went to sleep last night. Let's ask you that question.
Right.
I'm going to assume you went to sleep last night and you woke up and your heart was still beating. What told your heart to do that?
Right.
And the number one answer I get from people is, I don't know. And then I point to their head and then I say, what's in your head? They say, my brain. I said, what does your brain control? And the number one answer, again, if we were playing Family Feud, the number one answer we'd get is everything, right? Which tells me that everyone understands that their brain controls every function in the human body. What people don't understand is how it does that.
That's right.
And important to understand for me to continue my personal healing story is that it does that by sending messages from the brain, your master computer, to all parts of your body. Your brain is your master controller. It's your central station. And your body functions through electricity. Not like electricity, it functions through electricity. And the electrical system in your body is the nervous system. And so below the brain, and by the way, the central nervous system is the only system in the human body that is fully encased in bone as a protective mechanism because it's very fragile. So the brain sits in the brain. The brain sits in the skull. The first extension of the brain is the brain stem. And beyond the brain stem is the spinal cord. So think of the spinal cord as being a tree trunk. And then between every vertebrae, from the first cervical all the way to the fifth lumbar and a little bit beyond into your sacrum, there are nerves that come off that tree trunk that go feed the different parts of your body. The nerves that exit from T1 to T4 bring the electrical power to the heart and lungs to make it work the way it's supposed to. That's the area of my spine that was a complete mess. So as a chiropractor, I worked in flexion a lot. I lived in a small northern Ontario community where the major industry is mining and lumber. So even though I had a family practice where I took care of newborns and elderly, a big portion of my practice, probably a third of my practice, was blue-collar workers. Men and women that work hard, that are big, that are strong. And what I basically did is I beat my spine up over 25 years, which caused that area to be completely fixated. And, the good part of the story for me, obviously, is that as I started getting adjustments and my spine started to move normally and my nervous system started to move, or rather function normally, my breathing ability started to improve. Within 3 months, my pulmonary pressure had dropped to 27. So more than a 50% improvement from 57 to 27. In 3 months of care. Yes, I saw the chiropractor every day, 5 days a week for 3 months. And some people have said to me, whoa, that's a lot of visits. I said, I understand. But one of the best cardiologists in the country of Canada, which makes him probably one of the best in the world, told me I'd be dead by 2005 if I didn't have a transplant. It's 2019. I'm now 64 years old. And I do whatever I want, whenever I want. And so 3 months of daily care got me to improve by 50%. Within 2 years, not only was my pulmonary pressure fully normalized, the cardiomegaly, the increased size of my heart, was no longer visible on X-ray. Why?
Wow.
Because your body, like my body, has the ability to adapt. When the stress on my spine and my nervous system was removed, my body's innate intelligence, like everybody else's innate intelligence, said, you know what? I don't have to work that hard anymore because there's no more back pressure. So I don't need to be that big anymore. And it shrunk down back to its normal size because the human body has this wonderful capacity to heal and this wonderful capacity to adapt as long as there's no interference. And in my case, the interference was with the neurological communication from my cord at that upper thoracic level to my heart and lungs. I changed nothing else in my life except I got adjusted daily, and I didn't change my meditation practice. I didn't change my prayer practice. I didn't change what I eat. I've been eating organic for 20 plus years. I didn't change any of that. What I did change is I got regular, consistent, high-quality chiropractic care, and my body fully recovered. I get checked by a chiropractor now all the time, every 2 weeks for me.
Wow. I started going when I was a child because I fell out of a tree and had messed up my hip and my lower back, and I started seeing a chiropractor who actually ended up getting the children's home I was raised in involved with Life University and going to see the lights every year, and that was always a highlight of my childhood. And, I ended up, I saw my chiropractor, shout out to Dr. Keely Collette out here at Family Wellness. I saw her, and she did my x-rays when she first did them, and she said, Lynette, you look like a trauma victim. I was like, yeah. And I have problems from T1 to T7, and I have my heart rate. I've had 2 heart attacks. I've had a mini stroke. I'm 38 years old. My heart rate sits in the 30s. If I go into the doctor, they literally freak out every time. You're not lightheaded? Are you okay? Let's get an echo. Let's do this. And I'm like, oh, this is normal. But if I get up to walk across the room, I'll shoot up to like 175, 190, something, 200 and something just from getting up and walking. So, I mean, it's I pass out from it, lots of lightheadedness, just so many different things. I've had so many different tests, and my mom, I just recently, she found me and told me, well, you were born with a murmur and congenital heart disease, and then, found out I had something like a spasm problem, and where one of the valves closes off for like 30 seconds at a time. One of the, main ones, or, no flow will get through, and then all of a sudden it'll just release. And so lots of different issues with my heart and stuff. So for me, it freaks me out. I've got a daughter with severe autism who's 3. I've got to live forever. So I definitely need to come up with the funds to get back to my chiropractor, because I'll tell you, I was going on a regular basis, and then I had to stop because I couldn't afford to, and I got so ill for 3 months I couldn't get out of bed.
And when you were going regularly, were you seeing change?
Oh, big time. I felt lots more energy. My heart rate was much better. My daughter, she had such an odd gait. She could not walk without her legs bowing. She would fall. When we started seeing Dr. Keeley and taking her, she started running. She can walk completely normal now. And I'm telling you, she was not on the path for that. And you couldn't tell by her walk that she ever had an issue, and that is all from chiropractic.
I'll tell you, I've had thousands and thousands of experiences with more than 15,000 new patients that came to see me in my practice, and I saw it every day. And you get to the point where you sort of take it for granted. But probably the most important thing for people to realize is that once you understand that your nervous system is the master system of your body and controls everything, then make it a priority to make sure that your spine and nervous system are functioning well all of the time. Because when you do, the body heals. And we recognize that all organic systems in the universe are conscious, they're self-developing, self-maintaining, self-healing, as long as there's no interference. For some people, interference is a physical interference. So mine was a physical interference, probably due to micro trauma over time. Others, it's a macro trauma. You're in a major car wreck or something, or you fall off a building. You have some major trauma that requires a long time to correct and get the body to heal. For others, it's psychological trauma. Because I'll tell you, when you have a lot of psychological trauma, it has an impact directly, obviously, on the brain, which then has an impact on the normal flow of energy from the brain down the cord to all your tissues. And so sometimes we need to address that. Other times it's more of a toxic interference where people, are drinking a bottle of soda every single day. And worse than regular soda is diet soda, because we know it's toxic. So I have a brother, I had a brother who was 2 years younger than me, who did not follow the same sort of lifestyle that I did, didn't really understand the importance of putting good in, and, had a terrible diet and was consistently, overweight and, drank a bottle or two of soda every single day. In Canada, we call it pop, but I know in the South we call it soda. And I told him, I said, and he'd come into my office every once in a while, but he would only come in if his back was bothering him. And I remember, many times say, Mark, you need to be under regular care. He didn't have the issue that you have. I was willing to take care of my family and not charge him anything. I said, you need to get under regular care. You've got this issue in your mid-thoracic spine that needs to be corrected, because, in time you're going to get, no, and he'd say, no, I feel just fine. And at 50, he said to somebody at work, he said, man, I don't feel very good today. And he died of a heart attack on the spot.
Oh, my God.
He was dead. They said he was dead. His heart blew up, and he was dead before he hit the ground at 50 years old. And there I was attempting to teach him, but he just didn't want to learn. He didn't want to listen. So very often people, don't listen, just like I personally didn't listen when my body gave me my first sign, which was difficulty breathing while I was running. I was like equivalent to an NCAA runner in high school and college. I should have known better that having difficulty breathing was abnormal, but I didn't. So I said, typical male, just busy doing things, didn't pay attention to it. Well, what's important for people listening in to understand is that the worst thing you can do for a symptom is cover it up. A symptom is your body's way of letting you know that something is not right. And so it's important to figure out, so what is not right? If you've got a constant pain because of indigestion, you say, well, what's going on? Should you be taking medication for that? I would say no. You should try to figure out why that's happening. Is it something you're allergic to? Is it something that you shouldn't be eating? For example, my wife's allergic to gluten. And even for her, she's a doctor too, but even for her, she thought, that's just a bunch of hogwash. That's all society just trying to create new trends. Until she became allergic to gluten. And in 30 days, about 5 or 6 years ago, in 30 days, she lost 20 pounds. And she's 5'9" and weighed like 140, right? So she was not overweight, but in 30 days, she lost 20 pounds. She went from being, a fit-looking woman to a really, really skinny woman. And then we started doing research of all types, because you always think the worst-case scenario, is it cancer, is it this, is that? Discovered she was allergic to gluten and to eggs. got off of gluten and eggs.
Wow.
100% normal again. So it's important for us to recognize that symptoms are exactly that. Symptoms are your body's way of letting you know that something is not right. A symptom that people have a tendency to attempt to cover immediately with children, for example, is fever. Right? Most people will tell you, if you ask them a question, is fever good or bad? Most people say, oh, it's bad. Well, I'd like listeners to understand, no, fever is good. And listen why. I actually did my thesis when I graduating from grad school on body temperature. And what we know is that most bacteria and virus have a 24 to 48 hour lifespan. So an individual virus, I mean, there's millions of them when you get a virus, right? But individual virus has a lifespan of 24 to 48 hours, and they do not reproduce over 102 degrees Fahrenheit. So any common sense individual would say, okay, if the virus I have right now in my body is going to live 24 to 48 hours, and it will not reproduce over 102 degrees Fahrenheit, then it would make sense that I should raise my body temperature to above 102 degrees Fahrenheit. Right? Does that make sense to you, Lynette?
Yes, sir.
Right. Right. So if that's common sense, why do people attempt to lower the fever immediately and try to bring it back down to 99 or below 100, and they just medicate the heck out of themselves or their children? Well, because somewhere along the way, somebody put the fear of God in them that high temperature was bad. Yes, a long time, a fever of 104 degrees or more over a prolonged period of hours and hours and hours could lead to some neurological damage. That's true. But if
my good friend Dr. Suzanne Humphreys, she once said that if giving a child medication for a fever is like muzzling your attack dog when someone breaks into your house.
It's exactly that. It is exactly that. So I'll tell you, my kids have never had a needle, lotion, or potion put into their body. They've never had antibiotics. They've never had vaccines. They've never had anything. And my kids were really never sick, to the point where they started complaining that they weren't getting sick days off school like their friends were. And so I started giving them I started taking them out of school early on Fridays as a wellness day once a month. And I said to the teacher,
awesome.
If you want me to say that they're sick, I'll tell you they're sick, but I'll tell you, no, they're not sick, but I'm giving them a half day off, and we're going to do something that they're going to learn just as much as if they were at school. And the reality is that if ever they did get a cold and have a little bit of a fever, I would wrap them up in blankets, give them something warm to drink, the old chicken soup and warm herbal tea, and wrap them up and put them in bed or cuddle with them and just let them sweat it out. And sure enough, a day later, 24 hours later, they're well again. So how
bouncing
crazy
off the
is
walls
it?
Usually too.
Oh yeah, and healthy. I mean, they're healthy kids. You see them today as adults. They're bright. Their eyes are bright. They're just healthy because we actually honor the human body the way God designed it to be: self-developing, self-maintaining, self-healing, provided there's no interference. So when there's interference, then, like I said, you try to figure out where's the interference coming from. Is it a physical interference in nervous system function? Is it a psychological interference because of psychological trauma where you need help? Is it a chemical interference where it's the food you're eating or what you're drinking, or you're spending too much time in smog and not enough time in nice, clean nature, breathing fresh air? I mean, the minute the interferences are removed, people heal. And, I've asked the question many times. I said, if you cut yourself, do you really need a Band-Aid? Do you need to put polysporin? Do you need all of that? Or is it chances if it's a little cut, like a paper cut, that it's going to heal on its own? And people say, well, yeah, it's going to heal on its own. So what allows that to heal? Power that allows that to heal is the same power that allows a broken bone to heal. Now, not to say if you have a major fracture, gosh, I'm glad we've got some great orthopedic surgeons that can line the bone back up. But at the end of the day, once they line it up, your body does the healing. Surgeon doesn't do any of the healing. Just like as a chiropractor, I've never healed anybody of anything. What I've done is I've helped people remove the interference that allows their innate ability to heal to function unimpeded. And so, yes, there are procedures sometimes that are required, but at the end of the day, the healing comes from inside. Every individual listening in on this show, you were given from birth the power to heal. And when the sperm cell and the egg cell came together and went poof, there was a burst of energy right there, and the electricity was developed. inside those two cells that then continued to grow and multiply. And the neural streak is the first group of cells that we see in a developing fetus. And from the neural streak comes the brain and the spinal cord, and then every system grows off of that. The cardiovascular system grows off the cord. The digestive system grows off the cord. The reproductive system grows off this neural streak, which, as I said, becomes the spinal cord. So if you want to do research on the development of a fetus, you will discover that the controlling system, the master system in the human body, is the nervous system. And the other systems exist to keep the nervous system alive. Right? The cardiovascular system exists to continue to feed the nervous system. So your brain has the power to allow you to think and do things. Do whatever it takes to keep your nervous system healthy.
You were talking about being winded, and I was talking to a friend of mine on the phone the other day, and he said, "Are you running a marathon?" And I said, "No, I just walked out to my car and back." It's like, wow, you sound horrible. It's like, I know, it is horrible, though. Like, I get winded just walking somewhere, like, it's like, Jesus, well, I'm 38 years old. This is horrible.
Yeah, let's get that figured out, right? Because my symptoms started when I was 38, and I am now, 48. When they got really, really bad. But I'm now 64, and I will tell you that I am healthier at 64 than I was at 48. And you met me, and a lot of people meet me, and they'll ask my age, and I'll tell them, they were like, "No way." And I'll say, no, I'm 64. I was born in 55. And they go, "Man, you look good for your age." And my comeback
yes,
line
sir,
to that
I don't
is like,
believe it. You look very young.
But what I tell them is like, no, this is what 64 is supposed to look like. Right? We were born to be healthy. So I look like what a 64-year-old is supposed to look like. The typical North American 64 looks old for their age because they don't know what to do, or they followed the paradigm that for the last 50 years has been a drug outside-in paradigm. I mean, in the United States, we make up about 5% of the world population, yet Americans consume more than 50% of prescribed drugs worldwide. And yet, when you look at the World Health Organization chart, we normally rank in one of the unhealthiest nations. That's somewhere around 47 or 49. I didn't look at the 2018 stats, but I think 2016 we ranked 49th on the list of healthiest countries in the world. Yet we spend more money per capita than any other country. In 2014, per capita, more than $8,000 spent. Every American, more than $8,000 per capita was spent. The healthiest nation, I think in 2014, was one of the Scandinavian nations. I can't remember if it was Norway or Finland. Their healthcare costs were under $2,000 a person. So our health costs are four times greater, yet we ranked 49th. If people don't see a problem with that, that's serious.
Oh, yeah. Well, one of my children, when she was injured, she was 15 months old, and she was given six vaccinations, and 2 were triples while she had thrush. And from that moment forward, she was diagnosed with autoimmune neutropenia after bone marrow aspiration biopsies, and we really went through a lot with her. And we had to do Neupogen injections at first every day, and then every other day, and then every third day, up until I finally got her off of them by naturally healing her. And she's completely recovered now, which is mind-blowing to all of them because they told me it was such a rare thing to fully recover. But when this happened, it really shocked me that, your system could just turn on itself like this. But her medications were $5,000 a month for her prescription. Whoa. $5,000 a month for Neupogen with Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Well, you know what? What more people are starting to understand in this country and many other countries around the world is that health doesn't come from the outside in. Health comes from the inside. And everything you do, everything you think, everything you put into your body matters. And so when I look at what is being pushed out there, I'm not a TV watcher, but every once in a while we'll watch, a show of some sort. All people need to do is close their eyes when a drug commercial comes on. Don't look at the beautiful pictures that they use to mesmerize you. Listen to what they say. Every drug's got major effects, and they're not side effects, they're effects. They know the effects, they document the effects, and they know that there's a potential that you'll have all of these, from whatever it might be, from diarrhea to death, and everything in between.
Yep.
But what happens is that because the human psyche, what we see, feeds our brain, if you watch the commercial, you go, wow, they're happy, healthy people. They look good. They're smiling. There's children playing. There's beautiful green grass and flowers and sunshine, while they're telling you all this crap. So I tell people all the time, you just close your eyes. When a commercial comes on, just close your eyes and listen to 2-3 commercials and ask yourself, would I ever want to do that to myself?
Well, and it's funny because all these doctors get so upset if you do educate yourself or if you do research something, and they'll say, well, what are you, a Google doctor? And it's funny because then you see these commercials and they're like, ask your doctor about Lexapro, ask your doctor about this, ask your doctor. I'm thinking, which one do you want? Do you want us to know about it and ask you about it, or do you want us to ignore everything and just let you tell us what to do? I mean, you know what I mean? It's kind of funny when you think about all the different little ways that they do things, but it's weird to me that they will literally tell you, ask your doctor about this medication. Like, here, you've already diagnosed yourself in your brain anyway, so just ask your doctor if this one's right for you. It's like, what in the world?
I know, it really is absurd. The system has gone awry. It is in serious trouble, and people are getting sicker and sicker and sicker, and no end in sight except for those who are willing to ask the right questions. I mean, as it relates to vaccines, all you need to do is ask the doctor to read the insert that the manufacturer put in it. It's small print, so make sure if you need glasses, make sure you have your glasses. But when you read the small print of the adverse possibilities, why would anybody want to do that to themselves? And that's the research that I did when I made the conscious choice not to get my kids vaccinated, 37 years ago.
And, even vitamin K comes with a black box warning of death as a risk. It's not just a vitamin, and a lot of people think it is, but there's 250 micrograms of aluminum in the vitamin K.
Mm-hmm. Yep, my kids were born at home for that reason.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I mean, I wish I could, and I think that for me, I think the system, they did pretty much almost wipe me out. When I had my daughter, I had a Tdap while I was 26 weeks pregnant with my other daughter, actually 2 weeks prior to the other injury I told you about. And this daughter was born with the severe autism, global developmental delay, epilepsy, gut issues, all of this. And she's now 3. And but when she was born, my placenta had grown into my uterus. And so, I almost died on the table. I had a full emergency hysterectomy, 10 units of blood, 2 more the following day. I spent almost a month in the hospital, was admitted 2 more times for my heart afterwards, not being able to compensate what had just happened. And, it was insane. And all I could think was, this was my 5th baby. And I never had issues like this having children. And it was like, man, I had that Tdap. And I started reading the inserts, and it literally talks about do not give this vaccine if you're going to be having any sort of surgeries or medical procedures or anything like this in the next 6 months to a year is on the insert. And yet they give it to me as 26 weeks pregnant, and I literally am bleeding out during my delivery. And, it was just wild. My doctor told me she couldn't believe I was alive. She could not believe they were able to save me. She said that I died 4 times on the table, and that if she didn't love me and know me, that I probably wouldn't be here today. And I do believe God had a hand in that, because I'm supposed to be where I'm at and in this movement, talking to you at this exact moment. There are purposes for everything, and I'm thankful to be here. But I was so close to being a statistic, and my children are statistics. And that's not to say it didn't affect me. Mentally, cognitively, I used to be a writer. I used to be able to so gracefully express myself, and I've lost a lot of that. I've lost a lot of my grammar. My cell phone in the fridge overnight, forgot my gas and brake pedal. They really did a doozy on me.
Well, the good news is that if you really function on eliminating interference, that a lot of that, if not all of that, can actually come back. People have healed from situations like that. So I would, definitely I urge you to, go see your chiropractor, have that conversation, and see, have an examination to find out. I mean, like I said, chiropractors, we don't heal anything, right? Our goal is to discover whether or not there's interference happening between the brain and the rest of the body, and if there is, to correct that interference, allowing the body to function at its optimum potential. And sometimes optimum potential is not 100% because we always refer to things as limitations of matter. Sometimes the matter is gone to a certain level. Like, I don't practice as a chiropractor anymore because I've got what's called plastic deformity of the second thoracic. In other words, that my second thoracic wore out unevenly on one side. And so it subluxates in that area easily. And if I was practicing as a chiropractor, then I'd always have that constant problem. If I've got a problem at T2, then I would have probably problems breathing and with cardiac issues again. So I avoid that, but by avoiding that and getting checked myself every couple of weeks by the same chiropractor who keeps a chart on me, documents, what he does, what he sees, my progress, I run 5K races probably 5-6 times per summer, and I'm living life full out. And I was supposed to be dead in 2005. So I saw 3 kids graduate from college. I saw 3 kids get married. I saw 5 grandkids be born. All, experience that I would have never had if I had not had that discovery on that morning on the 15th of April in 2004.
Wow. Yeah, you have an amazing story, and it's inspiring to me because of where I am physically and how much hope you've given me, because my body is at the point, if I rock my 3-year-old, I still have to rock her. She, like I said, she has severe autism, and we spend a lot of very close moments. And while I'm rocking, I can rock her for maybe 10 to 15 minutes, and then my arms are literally hard to pick up off my legs. Like, my arms are so weak, they're shaky like Parkinson's. I'm serious. If I'm holding my phone trying to text, my thumb shakes so bad I can barely hit the right letter. And I don't know what that is. My system is just so off. I know I have scoliosis. I was diagnosed with that when I was, I think, like 13, and my I look like a little question mark.
Well, I'll tell you, your nervous system has a huge impact on everything that happens. At Life University, we have an institute called the Neuro Life Institute, where the clinicians there's 2 clinicians there, have advanced training beyond the traditional chiropractic training in what's called functional neurology. And I'll tell you, they have seen cases and taken care of people that were really on their last straw, had nowhere to go, don't know what to do. I saw them working with a young child, over the last 3 or 4 months. I've been in there a few times where that family was down from North Georgia somewhere, and saw the little guy who could not roll, could not pick up his head off the floor. And I think he must have been 8 or 9 months old when they started with him. And he's now to the point of crawling, which he would have never done if they hadn't done the specialty work on him. So there's all sorts of work. I saw a young gal who had a stroke at birth, and came all the way from China, mainland China, wealthy parents from mainland China. She had never been able to open her left hand. So she basically looked like a stroke victim. She dragged her left foot, and she had this closed left hand. They started doing some work, and she'd been going to a chiropractor in China for a number of months when he said, I think I've brought you to the maximum that I can, but there's this clinic in Atlanta that I think you should take her to. So anyway, they came here, and on the 5th day, not only could she open her left hand, but she was texting on her iPhone using both thumbs. She had never used her left hand in her life.
Wow.
And I said to the clinician, so even me with my experience, like, okay, so what was wrong with her hand? He said, nothing. There was nothing wrong with her hand. What we discovered is that there was part of her brain that communicates with the left hand that wasn't communicating with her left hand. And whatever it is that they did through eye movements and some types of special exercises, they actually woke up that part of the brain. And within 5 days, there she was she wasn't fully functional, but she could open and close her hand. She could hold her phone with her left hand. And like I said, she was texting using both thumbs. She had never done that in her life.
Wow.
And she was, I think she was 17.
That's amazing.
If I jokingly say, if you can fog a mirror, in other words, if you're breathing, there's something that can be discovered to actually help someone get healthier than maybe they've ever been before. There's always hope. And that's what we've got to look at, and we've got to always look at the hope coming, again, from the inside out, not from the outside in. There's no magic pill, there's no magic potion, there's no magic lotion that's going to help you if your nervous system is not functioning at 100%.
That's right. And there's so many people now. I mean, I know so many people who are like, oh, my mom, she's got, the medicine cabinet full. She's on 11. She's on 15 medications. And
crazy.
And oh, yeah. I mean, I was at that point, and I went in on New Year's Eve one year, and I was on 9 different pills for my heart alone. And I had my second heart attack while on the medications, and rather than change them or take any of them away, they just piled more on. And so I end up in the emergency room, and they're like, oh, my goodness, this doesn't go with this. You shouldn't be taking this with this. They do heart CAT scan. They do MRIs. They do all this stuff, and they're like, oh, my goodness. And, I mean, it was horrible. I'd gotten down to 87 pounds on all these meds, and nobody was doing anything. They were just letting me die, and they didn't care. I mean, they saw me every week, and it just whatever, side effects. And
Lynette, they probably did care, because I honestly believe there's not a doctor out there that doesn't care. It's the training that they've received, and so when they receive a training that is, let's say, drug-based, it's almost like that's what they know, and so they function based on what they know, and get to a point where they don't know anything else, because that's what's been riveted into their mind. So it's the system that's problematic. I don't believe it's an individual doctor, because I honestly believe that every person who gets a doctor, no matter, dentist, chiropractor, medical doctor, surgeon, I believe everybody enters the healthcare world to actually help people, because we love and we care for people. But when you go down a model that teaches you X and you're not willing to go and learn about ABC, that's problematic. And I think that's where the problem is.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Yes, sir. I met my GP. He's 64 years old, my general practitioner. And when I met him, the day I met him, he said, meeting you today was like stepping in front of a fire hydrant, but I'm not one of those doctors who isn't capable of learning. And he said, I'm so glad you brought my attention to this. And he does not force me to vaccinate my children. He's very open-minded. He's now started seeing several people in the area who I've recommended, and just a beautiful, sweet older gentleman. He's a missionary. And just love him to death. And he said, I was going to retire soon.
And he cares.
Oh, yeah. He said, I was going to retire soon, but thanks to you, I can't, because all these women who should be going to pediatricians are now coming to me because they can't go to pediatricians. And he said, this is a sad world we're in. But, it's funny because, he does care. He wanted to give me a medication one time for my ear. And he said, I know you, and I know you're not going to take this unless I tell you everything about it. And he was like going through, and he's like, now there is aluminum in this. And I was like, no, sir, not doing it. And he was like, okay, now let's change gears here and find something different that's more natural. I was like, yes, sir, now we're talking.
Exactly.
And then he'll give me suggestions, but he knows better, and so it's nice to go to someone like that who will take your considerations. When my daughter was diagnosed, I was so open with the people who evaluated her that in her paperwork it states, Jasmine's mother has educated herself, and you will have to meet her where she stands when it comes to Jasmine's treatment. I thought that was beautiful because it doesn't say I'm miseducated. It says I educated myself, and in the process actually educated a lot of them. But, it's just when you're open-minded enough to be brave enough to speak to people, you're really, you're blown away at some of the people who are really hungry to get this information and to hear it.
And it's you're absolutely right. So that's what I've experienced in my now 40-year career. It'll be 40 years this month. Actually, next week it'll be 40 years that I actually graduated from chiropractic school, and I've had a phenomenal 40-year career, and I think I'm good to go for maybe another 20.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the first 40 because you're doing awesome things. We're going to take a quick commercial break. When we come back, I would love to talk about Life University and what you do there and all those kind of things as well because, it's very inspiring to me who you are and what you do. And you're just inspiring to me as a person in general. You just got a light, and I just love you. So we're going to jump to a commercial break and help Freedomizer pay the bills, and we will be right back.
Thank you.
Vaccines are required for students, employees, immigrants, military members, and international travel. Do you know how to legally avoid them? This is vaccine rights attorney and Freedomizer radio host Alan Phillips. My vaccine exemption ebook can help you avoid the mistakes that have cost others their exemption rights. Get the authoritative guide to vaccine legal exemptions, an ebook available at freedomizerradio.com and vaccinerights.com.
Let freedom ring throughout the land.
Get ready for the epic new documentary adventure ride of your life. Shade the Motion Picture. Up you into the globalist domain and embellish and purpose film.
Nothing in this world works the way you think it does. Nothing. Governments do not operate the way you think they do. Banks do not do what you think they do. The police department is not here for what you think it is. Nothing in your world works the way you think it does.
We have to let them know that their world government has been identified, and they thought they'd include the world economy to bring in a worldwide police state, but instead it's going to bring them down.
You have to stand up. Speak up, speak out.
Shade the Motion Picture. Order your copy of the DVD today at shadethemotionpicture.com.
Vaccines are required for students, employees, immigrants, military members, and international travel. Do you know how to legally avoid them? This is vaccine rights attorney and Freedomizer radio host Alan Phillips. My vaccine exemption ebook can help you avoid the mistakes that have cost others their exemption rights. Get the authoritative guide to vaccine legal exemptions, an ebook available at freedomizerradio.com and vaccinerights.com.
Let freedom ring throughout the land.
Tune in to Forsaken Generation, Mondays at 1 to 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time, where we will be revealing the true science behind vaccines, the harm they cause, the stories of the affected families just like our own, and much, much more. So tune in and get the stories that the big news channels refuse to cover. This day and age, we must protect our families from those sworn to do no harm. We will not ingest the lies any longer. Mothers, fathers, doctors, scientists, journalists, speaking out on behalf of the health of humanity. So, join my mom, your host, Lynette Barron, on Forsaken Generation, Mondays, 1 to 2:30 p.m. Central Standard Time.
All right, everybody, that is actually Mondays, 11 a.m. to 2 p.m. Central Standard Time. We can just never get the new commercial to work, but we are back now. And I don't want to say your name wrong, and I will, so we are back now. And I know I'm going to let you introduce yourself again because it works so much better.
Absolutely. Dr. Gilles LaMarche. It's not the way it's spelled, but it's the way you say it. You know, it's a French Canadian name. So when you're in the South, anywhere Georgia or Alabama, people don't necessarily pronounce it right, but it's okay. I've gotten used to it.
Well,
I'm not offended.
My father was born in Canada, and my mother is actually full Native American, so I always say I'm a Canadian.
You're a Canadian. That's cute.
I'm a Canadian.
That is cute.
Oh, my goodness. But, well, I'm so happy to have you on with me today. Well, tell everybody what you do at Life University and how you got there and how you got where you are. I mean, you're just an awesome person. I'd just love to hear all of it.
So after retiring from practice in 2004, obviously thinking I was going to be dead by 2005, once I got well, I was like, okay, now what do I do? So I thought, well, I'd sold my practice. I couldn't really open up a practice in my hometown. I started looking, where would I want to move to open up a practice. And as I guess God would have it, I fell off a 7-foot step ladder on the 5th of June in 2005, and I broke 6 ribs. 3 of them broke right off my spine, and I ended up obviously in the hospital, the emergency department. They put me in a medically induced coma for 12 days because I really could not breathe at all. And when I came out of that coma, I probably spent the next 3.5 months rehabilitating from these fractures. And I thought, okay, so what am I supposed to do now with the rest of my life? Maybe practice isn't where I'm supposed to be going. I've been speaking in the chiropractic profession for about, I think since 1983, 82 or 83 was the first time I spoke at a chiropractic conference. So I've been speaking around the globe for many, many years. I've written a number of books, most of them direct to the chiropractic profession. But through my speaking training, I also did a lot of leadership and, sort of personal development coaching. And I thought maybe I'll do that instead of going into practice. And I got a phone call from an acquaintance who said, why don't you come to Dallas and help us? We've got our seminar series. It's struggling. We'd love for you to come and help us with that. And being a Northern Canadian, I didn't think I would do very well in the summer heat in a state like Texas. So I agreed to go. This was in the fall, but I said, I'll agree to go as a volunteer for 3 months. I'll help you as much as I can. I understand the seminar world a little bit. Anyway, the short part of the story is that I loved it so much that they then offered me a position at that university in Dallas, and I stayed with them until 2012. In 2012, they were going in a somewhat of a different direction than what I thought they should, and I left there in 2012. And in 2013, I was actually recruited to come to Life University. And of course, being a chiropractor myself, I knew of Life University, but I'd never really been here to meet the people or, see the environment, see the university itself. And I was like, wow. I walked on campus. I was like, wow. I had no idea we had such a beautiful university that started as a chiropractic college. So from its humble beginnings in 1974 as Life Chiropractic College, in half of a rental building on Barclay Circle, offering 1-degree program, Life University has grown to encompass 110 beautiful acres owned by the university, now offering 24-degree programs. And we often refer to as the not-so-little university that's changing the world because we offer programs that are different. Even though we have traditional bachelor's degrees, we also have degrees, for example, in psychology, or degrees in positive psychology. So you may say, well, what's the difference between positive psychology and regular psychology? And positive psychology is when you look at things from the positive rather than negative, neutral, or stressed. Our nutrition degrees are in what we refer to as vitalistic nutrition. And we're really paying attention not just to the food groups, but rather, how does organic affect you compared to inorganic? How do chemicals on your fruit and vegetables affect you compared to having it, perfectly clean? So, like I said, we've grown. We're just shy of like 3,000 students, 110 acres. I mean, hundreds of thousands of square feet of office space, classroom, labs, residence. We currently have about 700 plus students who actually reside on campus. We opened up a 2-bedroom apartment-style residence about 7 years ago, and last September we opened up more of an undergrad type of building, more like dorms, but it's a 4-floor, 99,000 square foot, like $27 million building, and we attract students from around the globe. So currently we have 1,664 students that are in our chiropractic program. So we are the largest single campus chiropractic program in the world. The remaining students, up to about just under 3,000, are enrolled in our bachelor's degrees or some of our master's degrees. Like master's, we have clinical nutrition, we have sports health science, positive psychology, athletic training, and soon to have a master's in neurology. Of course, our doctor of chiropractic program, and then we have bachelor's degrees in culinary nutrition, dietetics, exercise science, health coaching, positive human development and social change, psychology, biopsychology, etc. And we have a couple of associate's degrees, one in computer information management and one in health and wellness. And we have also really grown as it relates to our sports initiatives on campus. For example, we've got a beautiful turf field literally across the street from my office where the men and women's rugby play, men and women's soccer also play there, and now we've taken on women's lacrosse as well. We also have men and women's volleyball, men and women's basketball, men and women's wrestling, and we're just continuing to add sports. We currently have just short of 500 students who are actually student athletes. So Life University has grown into this beautiful gem, and you were on campus, so you saw how beautiful this campus is with a creek going down through the center of the campus, rolling hills,
I got to see
beautiful trees.
a lot of the
phenomenal.
campus. I got to see a lot of it by getting lost. So I got to see extra bits of it, and it was just amazing.
Yeah, it is absolutely a beautiful campus. And we have a phenomenal team.
We got to see some of the boys and the females playing the basketball and everything, too, as we were walking through to get up to where we were actually going for the event taping. So that was really cool, too, to be able to just see everybody in the gym and watching them play basketball for a second. I'm sure we weren't supposed to. We were kind of sneaking peeks. But,
that's totally fine. I'll tell you, you may have noticed when you walk on campus, there are signs, beautiful signs, positioned in key areas, which talks about the Speak tradition. And the Speak tradition was created by our student council, I think more than about a decade ago, where cell phones became so prominent where everybody's just walking, looking down and texting or whatever, that the goal is to get people to look up and say hello.
Thank you.
And interact with human beings. Because Life University was built on a very, very interesting philosophy. It's called the philosophy of lasting purpose. To give, do, love, serve from abundance with no expectation of return. And we have an awesome mission statement. It's to empower each student with education, skills, values needed for career success and a life fulfillment based on a vitalistic philosophy. And so our undergraduate, graduate, professional programs, each one committed to excellence in teaching, in learning, in research, and really the overall student experience by offering a vision to our students and the promise for a meaningful life. The proficiencies that they get to experience are what we deem necessary to achieve optimum personal performance and really the wisdom to become transformational leaders. And in a really diverse, global, and dynamic world, we're one of the, I think, top 10 most diverse universities in the country. We rank, I think, in the top 3 best positive psychology programs. We teach compassion, integrity. We, during the first quarter, all students and staff must attend a day with our chancellor where he teaches them about rights and responsibilities. Powerful space, right? The rights and responsibilities that you have as a human being, as a student at Life University, and not just your rights, but with every right comes an equal or greater responsibility. So the students get to learn from our chancellor as it relates to this type of training, and then they get to learn about Life University's core values, which are really human values for each individual to thrive, to grow, and truly become the person that they were actually called to become.
I completely understand that and believe that. Every chiropractor I've ever met that's come out of that university, or even when it was a college, were amazing people. And even Dr. Bob Porter, my chiropractor as a child, when I started seeing him, he started donating his Tuesdays and Thursdays to the children's home I grew up in. And my house parent, Uncle Ben, built a table and covered it and, nailed the little pretty golden little things on the side and had the leather on it and cut the little face hole out, had the paper thing. And he would come every Tuesday and Thursday from after my injury on, and he adjusted all of us kids up until I was 18 years old. I had, free chiropractic care from him, and then sadly at 45 he actually passed away of a heart attack, and he was doing all kinds of races and marathons and all kinds of things, and sadly passed away immediately passed away.
But maybe like me, he was doing a good job taking care of other people. He was forgetting to take care of himself, right?
That's exactly what he was doing, and
yeah.
I mean, yes, yeah. and that's it, and it was, and I mean, he was so sweet. I remember I was doing bad in school, and he went beyond just chiropractics. I mean, he came to the children's home and he told me, Lynette, if you can just get all C's even, I will get you your first car. And he was driving this really cool red car with like T-tops, and he was like, this could be yours if you just do what you're supposed to be doing. And it was just so amazing.
He's a product, obviously, of that philosophy, because what they teach us, or what I learned when I got here, and was what we refer to as 8 ways to great, because we believe that students are best served by curriculum that doesn't just give them, the didactic information, but really that provides life skills as well as profession-specific competencies. And so when they explore these 8 core proficiencies, they don't explore it all in one time. Those proficiencies are actually woven through the academic experience. And they're living skills and leading skills. So we create leaders regardless of the path, of the educational path that the student has chosen. We integrate this information. And so the 8 ways to great that we talk about are integrity and citizenship, right? Gain the skills they need to become a valued member of their community. Leadership and entrepreneurship, how to build a successful business. And the skills that we teach there will actually show them how, because many of the students that we attract will one day own their own business. Learning theory, critical thinking, right? How to seek and synthesize information and how to learn to apply it while they're in school, during their career, and obviously in their life. We also talk about contemporary scientific paradigms, discovering ideas on human dynamics that apply to the present and to the future, to think inside and outside the bounds of what currently is available in science. And then the philosophy of human existence and healthcare policy, encouraging everybody to become an active participant in what we call the wellness revolution. And then communication and relationship theory skills. Help our students become great communicators, that they can harness the power of communication for effective leadership building in both in both their career and in their life. And then 7 is belief systems and performance. How to access and utilize contemporary intellectual approaches and technologies to really build a belief system that is congruent with a wellness lifestyle and that you can back up with the science that you actually learned so that you can perform at your best and help people perform at their best, whether you're a graduate of a nutrition program or a chiropractic program or a psychology program or athletic therapy program. These all apply. And then our eighth way to great is integrative change. We must be willing to embrace change. And so we teach them how to embrace change and learn how to use that to their advantage, right? All keys to truly living an exceptional personal and professional life. So just imagine, you're not just enrolled in university when you come to Life University that's going to give you all the didactic, educational, intellectual information that you need to get your degree, but we actually help you develop your life, help you become the leader that you can be. We got a phenomenal campus culture. The people are so kind, and I discovered that when I first came on campus. I was like, wow, I could live here no problem. So there's a kindness, there's a service initiative, there's a service consciousness that exists here that we don't see everywhere in the world, unfortunately. But I think we're starting to see more of it.
You are correct.
But it certainly exists at Life University. I'm very proud to be here.
You are correct. When I was walking around Lost, and everybody was so friendly when we were walking around Lost. And I'm covered in tattoos. I have a hot pink mohawk. And, sometimes people are a little judgmental, but I felt right at home. Everybody was so sweet. They were like, I don't know what to tell you, but, blah, blah, blah. And they were just so sweet. It's like, okay, thank you, But, just a very open and friendly campus.
You're referring when you came to the High Wire, and that was sort of a last minute. So a lot of the students didn't even know the show was going on because the only room we had available, as you saw, could only sit 100 people. And we thought, oh, my gosh, if we advertise that to the entire student campus, they're all going to want to come. We have no place to put them. But traditionally, yes, you'll find people, anybody. I remember, as the vice president, people walk into my office used to be just right off the lobby of our main building. And I remember escorting a woman to 2 buildings away from mine. And then when she said, so what do you do here? I said, I'm the vice president. She was like, what? And you took time out of your schedule to walk me all this way? I said, yes. I said, if you had knocked on the president's door, he would have done the same thing. She was like, really? I said, yes. We talk about lasting purpose, give, do, love, serve from abundance. I said, this is the culture that I get to live in every day, and I'm so grateful I get to live it, and that's the culture that we teach. And so when people come to campus, they go, wow, it's like a completely different energy of anywhere I've ever been, and that's why.
You're making me wish I was a chiropractor.
Or a student at Life University studying something else, right?
I'm telling you, I already exude so much of this every day just because I believe in it, my personal self, that, I mean, I would have a blast up there.
And most people do. Most people do. If they're walking and they're calling, let me tell you, they get to live it for sure.
Oh yeah, my chiropractor is amazing. She is just such an amazing, beautiful person, and she always cracks me up because she says, "Well, Dad, if anybody's going to change the world, it's going to be you." I'm like, "Girl, it's a group effort," but I'm just so happy that we have, people out here like you, like her, who are willing to speak the truth and willing to talk about natural healing in a world that is so beat down with commercials and all these things. And I'm telling you, they will be talking about herpes, and they will be showing you people running on the beach like it's the best thing they've ever had in their life, and it's like, what are we talking about right now? I'm so confused.
Yeah, that's why I said the best thing for people to do when they have commercials on TV, if they're watching TV, just close your eyes while the commercial is playing and listen. Because if your eyes are open, you're watching, but you're probably not hearing what's being said in the background of that commercial.
That's right. That's right. It's hard to even watch them anymore. And I know, like for me, I have shared my story with the VAX team. I've done a lot of different interviews and things, and so it was crazy for me when I on YouTube now, like when I post your and my interview to YouTube, it will say underneath it that people like us are the number 9 health threat of 2019. It literally, YouTube puts that under there with Wikipedia's stamp of approval, and it's such a sad world we're in, because if you talk about natural healing and you talk about getting outside of those kind of things, not only do they throw a pharmaceutical ad right before your show on YouTube, but then they throw that disclaimer at the bottom from Wikipedia like, they're trying to convince the whole world while they're listening to you that you're crazy, and it's like, wow, it's coming from every direction. I'm a single mother.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. I just want to tell you something after.
Oh, I was just going to say, I'm a single mother out here, and, they're censoring us so bad that, like I make products, detox and stuff for autism, stuff for ADHD, all kinds of natural healing things, and they've censored me so bad, they actually took my Etsy shop from, we were doing amazing and selling all over the world to where I haven't had a sale in 2 weeks because they literally, they banned all of our top-selling products that were helping people. And they took down all of the reviews, the pictures of the reviews, everything that was top 5-star, and we've made over $60K for literally in the years we've been with them for them in their fees alone. And here they are censoring us to the point.
You said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can barely feed my family at this point because of these kind of things.
That's disappointing because Etsy I saw as being much more open to everyone. I mean, we even had the CEO and the founder at Life University and a few years back, and he seemed to be such an open individual. Well, I can tell you
somebody
days,
in power might want to reach out to them in Brooklyn, because it's very sad for people like me. This is how I literally recover my daughters, and this is how I feed my family. And I'm at the point where people are sending me, hey girl, here's $50 here, here's $100 here, thank you for what you do, keeping me and my kids where we're eating. I mean, it's a sad world right now for activism, and I won't give up. They'll never silence me. They can starve me out. I'll never be quiet. I mean, it's sad, but that's where we're at right now. And we're fighting censorship on every turn. Oh, yes, sir. It's on Amazon. It's on Pinterest, Instagram. It's everywhere. Facebook.
It is. I'll tell you, 5 days after I appeared on Dell's show, The High Wire, and I didn't say anything anti-anything. 5 days after I appeared, I had one book that was selling on Amazon called Tribe of Chiropractic Mentors. It's a book that's got nothing negative in it. It's a book that was written for young chiropractors and chiropractic students to receive some level of mentorship from 31 different chiropractors who submitted for that book. But 5 days after I appeared on Dell's show, my KDP account on Amazon was closed, and they said because I was in contravention with their publication rules. And they would not answer other emails other than just an automated email that came back said, you're in contravention of our rules. Your account has been closed. And I was like, what? They were selling the book for a few months before that, and it was doing great. So, there is censorship everywhere, and I'm one of them that I will not stop because the truth must be known. The truth must be understood. And I'm a critical thinker. I don't take everything just because somebody else said it. I don't listen to Del Bigtree because it's Del Bigtree. I know Del does his research, and then I do my research and goes, oh, geez, he's absolutely right. And the same thing with Dr. Wakefield and all sorts of other people that I know that are out there as truth seekers, and all they care about is delivering the truth, like I do and like you do. So thank you for doing what you're doing. Absolutely.
Yes, sir. Well, I invite you to join us at ACIP. The next one is June 26th and 27th at the CDC. I will literally personally message you and let you know when registration goes up if you'd like to join us, because we need more doctors. We need more people who come from a place of your knowledge speaking out on our behalf. I mean, they've heard us mothers cry out, and honestly, you know, I was so scared to get up there, because you think when you look like I do, you might ruin it for all of us. But thankfully, God spoke through me, and we were able to make a difference in that room. And since then, a lot of things have changed. I mean, on a big scale. But we want to keep making things change. You know, I was laughing because Paul Offit messaged me yesterday and said, "Have you noticed registration's not up yet?" And I'm just cracking up like, "Yeah, I've noticed. I'll let you know." It's like, "Don't worry, we blew up Amanda Cohen from the CDC. I put a call to action in for everyone to message her and say, we'd like to make our travel plans. Please put up the registration. Thank you." You know, but you have to do those kind of things, because it's a standoff at this point. And you know, I've been inviting people since I was, you know, pretty much going alone, and then a few of us to down to like over 100 of us last time. You know, more and more people showing up who are getting involved and speaking out. And you know, I love when people like you who have a background and an education, you know, are able to come and speak out, because it really does help us a lot. So I invite you, and I would love for you to be able to come and stand with us and be a part of it.
Yeah, let me know in advance. I know you said the date, I think June 26th, 27th. Is that what you said?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's a Wednesday and a Thursday, and they do them 3 times a year. But I'll definitely get with you with all the information as soon as they have it. So I'll give it to you, but I'll let you know when registration goes up as well.
Okay,
so
send me the information, because if I'm in town, I'd be happy to go. I travel a lot for the university, so sometimes I'm not in town. But I think I'm here at the end of June. So yeah, let me know in advance. I'd be happy to.
I definitely
go
would.
To the event.
Yeah. Yeah, I would love to see you there, because, you know, we definitely need to back up, and it's one of those things where, you know, when we first started showing up, it's such a mild event, and now they've brought in Department of Homeland Security, they've brought in all these people, and they really do. They put up a velvet rope to separate us now, where they don't want us all converging, because beforehand, you know, the doctors and scientists were coming over speaking to us and asking us more questions, and vice versa. We were mingling, and I brought in books, and I was laying them out for them to take home. And, you know, now you're not allowed to give them anything. Really, they don't. Like, Paul came and shook my hand and spoke to me and over the velvet rope, but that was it for like 2 seconds, and then everybody separates, and there's no more interaction, really. And I know that was on purpose. And so it's just sad to see how many, you know, they keep on trying to make it seem more and more like we're not a peaceful people, and everyone's been so amazing. And so, you know, they tell their stories from their heart, and they're so filled with peace. And I was interviewed by Washington Post, and the lady, literally, her title was it was the Science magazine was this one. She said, "Anti-vaxxers attack." And everyone in the room, and we were all streaming live, and it was like, was anybody else paying attention to this? Like, what are they talking about? So it's very important that more and more people, that's right, and it's so important that more and more people who do have credential and do have a larger voice help us and get out here with us. And, you know, I just love you. I mean, when I saw your socks and your tie, I knew you and I could be friends.
Wonderful. Well, it's great chatting with you today, and I hope that the listeners received information that will be helpful to them, and that some of you will make better decisions as it relates to your health and healing, because we want the planet to be healthy, and changes have to happen for that to occur. No doubt about it.
That's right. You know, and I'm sure you have a lot of youth who will end up coming and signing up now at Life University, because you definitely sold it. I want to come sign up, and I'm 38 years old.
I'll tell you, everybody's always welcome. Everybody's always welcome to come visit for our undergrad programs. We have 4 times a year. We have something called Eagle Madness Weekend, which just gets people an opportunity to come and enjoy the university and see what we're all about. We don't try to sell anybody. We just want people to experience the university. And then 4 times a year, we also host what's called a Life Leadership Weekend, and that's for those who are interested in our chiropractic program. And actually, that's one of those weekends happening this weekend, but it's 4 times a year and once a quarter. And you just come and you just get to experience the university and go, "Ooh, I think this is a place where I'd like to get my education and continue to grow as a human being." So know that you're always welcome to come and visit, and we love to have visitors on the campus of Life University.
Oh, yeah, and don't forget, mention the Christmas lights because that is my first happy memory of life. So definitely tell everybody what you guys do every year at Christmas.
So from Thanksgiving until New Year's Eve, we host what's called Lights of Life. We light up the entire campus, about 1.5 million. Yeah, you heard me right, about 1.5 million LED lights light up the campus. It is a spectacle. So to come and enjoy the holiday season, just a great way to do it. And it's very inexpensive. It's, I think, during the week, I think it's, if you get out and walk, it's like $5 per car, not per person. On weekends, it's like $10 a car. And on the first Saturday of December, this will be the 6th year in 2019 that I actually personally host a 5K run. And we call it Run the Lights of Life because we start the 5K at 4:30. And so by the time the competitors are finishing their run, the lights, the entire campus is all lit up. People go and enjoy, making s'mores, and there's a little train there for the kiddies, and there's a petting zoo. But the lights themselves are just absolutely spectacular. And last year our max registration was 600, and for our run, we were sold out for a run at the end of August. Imagine that. The run was December 2nd, whatever that first Saturday was of December. I think it was December 2nd, 2018. And I will do the first Saturday of December again in 2019, again starting at 4:30. And we're looking, because so many people have made this somewhat of a holiday tradition, we're looking to expand it to allow more runners to register for 2019. So we're just looking at maybe taking the course a little bit off campus, but finishing completely on campus so that we could accommodate more runners. Because right now we host it, it starts on our track, it ends on our track, so it's fairly compact, so it's difficult to have more than 600 runners. But in 2019 we may expand it, because I think we could probably get 1,000 or more people to run this race. It's a beautiful race.
Yeah,
like I said, finishing in the Lights of Life. It's a great way to celebrate. Great way to celebrate.
Well, keep me informed. I would love to get some people involved and bring a posse, because I'm telling you, that's just seriously, growing up as a child in a group home, especially during Christmas time, you are having some a little bit of hard feelings going on, and to go somewhere like that and just be so lifted up and so happy and forget about the crazy for a minute. It was a beautiful thing, and it meant a lot to me. And so I would love to be able to bring my kids and bring my friends and all that, and be able to do that again, especially be a part of the race as well, because I grew up doing stuff like that, and we used to do the March of Dimes, we used to do all the possum trot, we used to do just all kinds of different 5 and 10K kind of things, and I'm sure my heart needs this exercise anyway.
People could always walk. We also have a 1 mile walk or fun run, other than the 5K. So certainly you'd be welcome to come on campus. But thanks so much for having me on
I'll
your
be on
show
the fun
today,
run.
Lynette. Yeah, it was a pleasure
sir.
to
Thank
share
you for
this
joining
90 minutes
me.
with
I love
you.
you so much. I am so glad you are out there in the world spreading your light and love. Keep doing what you're doing, because you are lifting people up. You definitely have affected me, and I'm sure plenty of my listeners will now be hollering at life, because I'm serious. I mean, I was lifted up just coming there and just being there for a day. So I can only imagine that being something that you get to be a part of on a regular basis.
Quite phenomenal. Well, thank you very much for having me. It was a pleasure to be your guest today.
Yes, sir. Thank you, and I'll be messaging you and keeping in touch with you. Thank you so much.
Look forward to it. Thank you. God bless you.
Yes, sir. Bye.
Bye-bye.
God bless you too. Bye. Well, that was one of my funner interviews. Oh my goodness, what a sweetheart he is. Oh, you guys, I wish you had been there to meet him. If you were, you know what I'm talking about. What an amazing, amazing man. He is just doing such awesome stuff out there, and I love people who are out there leading with love, leading with their heart and doing what they're led to do, praying and following their heart. I love it. I love it. I love it. And growing up when I was a kid, it really was hard around that time of year. And Life University back then, I believe when I was a child, it was Life College. I remember it being Life College, because I remember whenever we were going there, and I was like, university? I thought this was college. But I've lived in Atlanta from 1984 when I got into the children's home up and through 1998, and then back again and all that. So, I lived there for a long time, kind of my stomping ground. But every experience I ever had there was always great, and so definitely check that out if you're younger or older and you're looking to do something different with your life, or something that's positive and will help change the world in a positive way. and teach you, it sounds like not only a better way to health, but also integrity along the way, which is something, integrity can't be, it can't be paid for. That's a lovely lesson to get as a compilation prize, if you ask me, Today has been a beautiful day. If you would like to call in and spend the last 25 minutes of the show with me, you can call 319-527-6208 and press 1 to get on the air. I am in a great mood. It has been a lovely day. It is kind of a rainy day outside out here in Alabama, but it's okay, you guys. It is what it is. I kind of like it sometimes. It's just nice to have one of those days where your wisteria gets a little rain, right? Oh, man, I've got me some raspberries out there. My peach tree blossomed like crazy, and now it's in, the leafing stage, and I cannot wait for my peaches, you guys. No chemicals, none of that. I'm going to be making my jams, preserves. I usually will actually go get my honeysuckles, and I'll put up what I need for product making, and then I will put the rest of them in a pot and make a honeysuckle syrup. And then I will use honeysuckle syrup to preserve some of my peaches, and then I will use that to make pies and cobblers, and it is insane. If you've never tried that, you should do it because it's awesome. That's just how my brain works. I think in the weirdest ways. I'm like, what kind of flower goes with this fruit? You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if y'all think like that, but I love I'm so much better at baking than I will ever be at cooking. Let me see here. 253, who do I have on the air with me?
It's Dina.
Well, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great.
Well, welcome to the show. How are you doing today? Good. How are you? Oh, it's delayed. I'm listening to you on my phone too.
Yeah, I can hear the echo in the background.
Yeah. Maybe I can pause it.
Yeah, I can hear the echo in the background.
Oh, and I paused it.
Yeah. All right, there we go. All right, well, welcome to the show. What do you want to talk about today, ma'am?
I don't know. I just wanted to say I liked that part of the show. Your show's so long, sometimes I don't get to listen to all of it.
Oh, I know it, girl. I know it. That's how it comes, 3-hour blocks. I know. Believe me, I have a hard time going back and listening to the whole thing myself a lot of days, but I'm so glad you were tuning in.
I'm not much of a talker. I just wanted to call in and say I was listening.
No, you're good. Yeah, it was lovely to have him on. He's a beautiful person, and I think that's the funnest part when you do activism is being able to get out and meet other people like that, and just having those kind of experiences where you would unite and you just keep on. This army just keeps growing bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's just a beautiful thing to see. And it was amazing to see this campus that's already fully awake, like a whole campus of folks that know what's going down. It's like, hey, this is pretty awesome. You know what I mean?
Yeah, where is that campus?
That is in Atlanta.
Oh, is it in Atlanta?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, it was a beautiful campus, and I mean, like I grew up out there, and so we visited there when I was a kid, and it's definitely grown quite a bit since I was a child. But yeah, it's beautiful, and there are so many neat like statues and just huge, interesting things, and just it's a nice place. Everybody was very friendly, and like I said, I'm covered in tattoos with a pink mohawk. So for me, a lot of times people aren't just like, hey, what's up? And so it was interesting, but everybody there was just so sweet, and we just had a really good time when we were there on campus, and so yeah, I mean, I would recommend anybody if you're younger and you're looking for a idea for a career, definitely check out chiropractic. It's my chiropractor changed my life and changed my daughter's life, and people, they really wouldn't like. I remember saying to her, like, how can just cracking a few bones do something for me or do something for her? But when I saw it in play, it was like, wow, it really does change how your whole system behaves.
It does. It does help a lot if you find the right one, just like any doctor.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Now I know for me the hard part was they put my head in a strap, and I felt like a horse, and strapped me to the table, and then she like pulled my body with all her body weight, and I came like 2 foot off the table into the air, and my whole neck down my whole back went and cracked, and it was like, oh Lord, what just happened to me? You know what I mean? Like I thought I was in some trauma. It was like, oh. Whew, definitely was not prepared for that.
I haven't had that one.
Oh well, I don't recommend it. I'm not going to say it was a pleasant experience. It was a weird one. And then like they'll strap you to the thing with something under your neck with that thing on your head, and you're like, okay, just lay here for 30 minutes. It's like, I don't know that I've got that in me. What if the apocalypse happens while I'm strapped to this table? Like I'm freaking out right now. Y'all might want to let me up.
I don't know why they strapped you to the bed. Did they say why they strapped you?
It was for tension because there's 3 vertebrae in my neck that are completely backwards, and so they had like this little hard rolled, I guess pillow sort of thing, but with an ice pack to it, and they had it up underneath my neck, and then they had the thing on my head like hooked to the back of the table below my head, pulling tension to try to, I guess, help those vertebrae kind of straighten out. But yeah, I've got problems with my neck and my back and my hips. All of those areas are just horrible. So, it was so painful for me. After I've always been one of those people too. I cracked my neck on my own, and I know you shouldn't do that. And when my chiropractor sees me doing it, she freaks out. But when I would see her, she knows my obsession. So she would crack my elbows. She cracks my hands. She cracks my ears. Like my chiropractor's badass.
She cracked your ears?
Oh, yeah, she does my ears. I'm not even kidding. She does my ears.
I know they could do your hand because mine, what was it?
Oh, no, it was crazy.
10 or 9. When I was in my car accident, the chiropractor I was going to, he cracked my wrist. It was my wrist back in place, but nothing else. But he wasn't a very good. It's harder when you're after a car accident, like to go find a good, chiropractor or anything, because they're more after the
insurance.
Yes. So I was getting over.
Yeah, you have to find a good chiropractor. Like,
yeah,
that's true. Yeah, I mean, mine is so amazing. Mine was like, look, if you can't afford to come here, we'll take product for you to come. Like, we want to help you. Like, they're amazing. But yeah, she does my ears. I mean, I'm telling you, it's insane because I don't know what's up. I clean my ears too much. Number one, I'm OCD, and but they always hurt, and so she'll I don't know. She has this way she pulls them and they pop, and it's like whoa, it like opens everything back up. It's like that's awesome. I didn't know you could do that.
No.
So she showed me a lot of different things. I've never seen a chiropractor do a lot of the stuff she does. And like I said, I mean, she does my elbows, my arms. I mean, she's done my whole body before because she'll show me ways to do it safely. You could do stuff. So it's interesting to see how they do things. And I don't know what that thing is they have that's like a jackhammer or whatever that they hit your neck with, but amen to that thing.
I don't know if I've seen that one. I've seen them use the automatic popper thing.
Man, I don't know what this thing is. It looks like a jigsaw with a rubber cork on the end of it. And she hit me in the back of my neck and my shoulders, and I was like, oh, Jesus, I can't move. Oh, my God. Oh, man. She was laughing. She hit my butt muscles. I was sitting there laughing so hard. And she said, your butt's lumpy with tension. I was like, who tells you these kind of things? Only your chiropractor can tell you that and get away with it. Your butt is lumpy with tension. Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Hey, you'd be surprised. It's way better than going to the spa.
Yeah. Massage therapy was the best actually at my place that I went to. The massage, because massage actually rebuilds muscles and stuff. But even when you just stretch your own neck, you'll pop your neck and stuff.
Yeah, I've hurt myself popping my own for sure. And I know, mine's so stiff, I can barely turn my head most days. I have, I don't know what it is, but there's this just pressure in the top of my neck, right where my head connects to my neck. And I guess T1 or whatever. And when I barely even turn, it doesn't want to turn. It doesn't want to do anything, especially if I'm trying to go to the left. I can go to the right way further than the left. And, I mean, it's always painful. And I'll try to pop it or whatever, try to, ease up the pain, but it just makes it worse. It just, I mean, I can barely sleep right. It's horrible. It's like, good Lord have mercy. But, I mean, it's hard for me because, especially having 2 injured kids, you know how it goes with these babies. I can't get out all the time. I mean, I used to take Jazzy with me and, take Lily, and it's a lot in gas. It's an hour away, and it's, when you connect with. But she's just become my friend. My chiropractor is my friend, I mean, she's one of those people, when something happens, I can message her at 3 a.m. like, hey, give me some advice. And she would be like, hey, girl, what's up? You know? I mean, we talk about boys and stuff at this point. We're close.
People he brings you.
Oh, yeah. I know. Hey, you know what? This is the only way I see things. It is God. It really is. God brings these people into my life. I mean, I know that. I have no doubt in that. I mean, I grew up fighting God. I grew up with God and Jesus, and I grew up Southern Baptist in a group home. I grew up with the pastor of the children's home as the administrator of the children. The pastor of the church was the administrator of the children's home I grew up in. So if I was in trouble in church, I was in trouble at home, and vice versa. I grew up so strict in religion that I fought it. It was like, no. I don't want it. Don't want nothing to do with it. I'm going my own way when I get out of here. And y'all see me. I'm rebellious as can be, if you can't tell. And something about all that, I sat there one day and it was like when my girls were injured, I don't know, I'm telling y'all, I came back to Jesus' feet and I learned a whole lot about myself and who I really am and what I am inside. And after going through my separation, divorce, and being a single mother, I spend so much time reading my Bible and other literature that's just opened my mind and my heart. And, God really does send people to my life, and he really has changed me and changed others through me, and I can hope he continues to use me as the best. So I will do his work as long as he allows me to.
Oh, he is.
Thank you. I appreciate that. We have so much going on. I just got asked to speak in Wisconsin at the state capitol May 18th, and I'm so excited about that. I'm so ready to speak. I mean, yes, girl, I've got so much in me, It's like, girl, I'm ready. I don't even have to write a paper down. I'm ready. It's in here. It's in my heart. It's in my mind. I'm ready to go. One thing I learned growing up Southern Baptist, I could probably have been a preacher if I didn't look the way I do. It's like I will get up there and I will let it rip.
God says beauty is in the eye. It's in the heart. It's not on the outer.
That's right. I'm glad you see that too. That's one of those things that I love. When I get out into the world and I do meet so many people, I love people who just come up to me and they see me as a person. They see me as my soul. They see who I am. I love that about people. I love when people see me that way because it is hard, and I get it. The world is taught to see people a certain way, especially women who look the way I do. And I had tattoos way before tattoos were cool for girls. And, and so for me, I mean, it's true, though. And, I mean, I've got them on my face, my neck, my ears, my chest, my hands, my fingers. It's just, this is me. This is my life. This is my story. And, and it's my therapy, to tell you the truth, and it's how I'm still alive. And, some people turn to drugs, some people turn to cutting, some people turn to whatever they want to turn to. But for me, this is what I found that made Lynette be okay by tomorrow. You know what I mean? I could have one of those days where you're like, oh, my gosh, I can't go on. I can't do this again. I can't take no more. Never again. I can't breathe. And then I get a tattoo, and literally I don't feel it. It's like going to a different place. To me, it's meditation. I'm sad when they're done. I'm like, can we do another one? We all got time. Because I don't want it to end. Because for me, it really is. It's like taking my mind to whatever's bothering me at that moment, wherever space, whatever thing is like really got a grip on me, and I will resolve that in my head while I'm going through that tattoo. And by the time it's over with, it's like cleansing for me of the soul, whatever. And it just, and that tattoo, I can tell you everything I did of every day for every tattoo on my body. And I got over 40 of them, and I can literally tell you everything about every one of them every day, the whole day, everything, because they were mile markers. Something happened. There's a reason why they're there. So, it's everybody's different. Everybody does things a different way. This is how I've healed, and it's brought me to be who I am. So, I always say that don't judge people by the way they look. And I saw a guy the other day. His name is Joshua Coburn. He is an inspirational, motivational speaker that I saw through Facebook, through a friend's page, and he said, who are you to judge somebody who's out here trying to change the world, who's trying to make the world a better place? It's like, you know what, that's beautiful, because it's the truth. Like, really, who am I to judge somebody who's trying to do something? Like, that ain't my job. It's God's job, job to judge everybody, and Jesus is for me to take it to and say, hey, here's what happened, handle this was the trespasses against me, I forgive them, forgive me for whatever I've done, let's move on to tomorrow.
It's a book. It's a book put out there for people who can see. That's how I see it.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have to change our perspective, how we see things.
That's true.
Not everybody's a writer.
Yourself. I mean, yeah. Oh, yeah. I agree with you there. And that's the thing, though. Everybody has their place. Everybody has their thing that they're good at. Everybody has their role. I mean, there are people who literally could never get up and speak in front of a group, or who could never get on the radio, or who, or whatever the case may be. But they're amazing at throwing the links out, or finding the statistics, or finding the doctors who are open-minded enough to help other parents, or whatever the case may be, leading up a local group, or I mean, there are just the possibilities are endless for what people could be doing out here, and I love to see it. And, so, I mean, everybody's not meant to do the same thing, and I think that's how we work as a team, and we are united as a force, because we do all work so well, and we do all know that take each other's back and help each other. I'm so appreciative to you for being out there and for doing your part and helping. I mean, we all have got to be out here doing this. Now is the time. I mean, if you guys are looking, everybody's rising up everywhere right now. I'm so proud of everyone. I mean, because it went from me going, why are we all just sitting at home while Poland's rising and Italy's rising and New Zealand's rising? And then it's like, hello, America. And finally it was like, bam, rally, bam, march, bam, this. I'm like, yes, there we go.
Prayers move mountains.
That's right. And that censorship, when they started censoring us and they started taking our income and they started really knocking us down like that, it really started bringing a lot more people out who usually wouldn't have gotten out and started hollering, because, that's really hard on a lot of us. I mean, I did not even, I guess for me, it was weird to me how it all played out. And I don't talk about this part, but Washington Post, when they interviewed me, said to me, what is Etsy? Because she was scrolling my Facebook page. And I said, Etsy is where I sell my bath products that I make. And she said, oh, what kind of bath products? And I was like, you're obviously looking. You just said 2 other things on my page. You might as well click it. And so she clicked it, and, she was like, oh, okay, whatever. Well, within 3 weeks, ASAP had happened, and I had made it home. And all of a sudden, Etsy had taken down all of my top sellers, anything that had gotten major 5-star reviews, anything that had been talked about by the parents as helping their kids was all censored and taken off my page.
I know, it's crazy how so many people can't see it, but so many are now. That the more that they try to censor everybody and keep everything hidden, the more it just blows up in their face.
Oh, yeah. That's my favorite part, though. When they started censoring me on Facebook, I went and got MeWe, Twitter, LinkedIn, and I became friends with head of HHS on LinkedIn, because these people aren't vetting their friend requests, apparently. I mean, literally, it's funny, I went everywhere else. I'm probably on any social media site, Tumblr. I mean, anywhere I wasn't planning on having an account, I now have an account where I share everything every week now, because it's like, you know what? If you're going to censor me in one place, I'll just go everywhere else. And I have different friends there than I have in all these other places rather than a few. So we're reaching more people every time they try to censor us. It's really, their game is not working. It's just making more people get louder, and more people get loud for the first time.
Because God says, whatever evil uses to harm you, I will use it for my glory, for good.
That's right.
He switches it around.
That's right. That's right. And it's funny, too, because that's why I try to be so sweet to our opposition, because the Bible says that you should offer drink to them. You should offer food to them. That being kind to them is like heaping hot coals on their head. And people don't realize that, but it really is. When you come from a place of kindness and mercy and love, your opposition doesn't know what to do with that. They want you violent. They want you angry. They know how to deal with violence. They know how to deal with anger. They do not know how to respond to you being kind and being friendly to them. Like you saw the picture of me with the DHS cop at ASIP and my story from that. They're not expecting us to come in there and be these sweethearts, and especially me. And they had several sticked on me. Tia and I were, on our interview talking about this the other day. And it was so funny because Tia was like, look, you don't have to worry about her. You have to worry about some of the rest of us. She's the most tame in here. She's the one keeping us all in check, But, I mean, that's the funniest part, because, I mean, by the end of the day, they're in pictures with us, smiling with my friends and their babies, because they hear both sides, and they're like, wow, this is happening. Like, holy smokes. Like, thank you, moms, for coming up here, standing up for us.
That's how you drive out it. You don't play into the right where they want you.
Right.
There's a paper I found.
Oh, yeah.
I don't remember if it was from the 1800s or something, and it tells you, I don't remember his name, but he tells you how to make a slave. And he says if you do it just like this, it'll last 500 years after this. Well, if you read that, it's just like what they're doing now. And everybody just plays right in their hands. It's like, why do you think they didn't like Martin Luther King so much? Because he just preached love. He just wanted everybody together. They didn't want that. They want us divided. They want us fighting. They want us hating each other. Like, it's craziness.
That's right. Well, girl, I'm gonna keep preaching love whether they try to get me or not. I've had threats. I've had when I was quoted by the different magazines and articles and things a few weeks ago. I had 3 different men with hummingbirds as their pictures tell me different ways they wanted to murder me, and I just laughed at them and told them, "Don't threaten me with a good time. I'm not afraid of you. When God said it's my time, it's my time. Until then, I'm gonna keep screaming. I don't care, and I'm not afraid, and I don't have a reason to be afraid because God does have my back, and and I wish more people felt that way. The only power they have is the power you give them. I don't give them my power. It's mine, and I'm going to use it. I need all the power I can get to do what I've got to do out here, in this fight. So screw them. They're not taking my power.
Exactly.
And I mean, it really is the way that we have to see this and the way we have to think and uniting. Whether you like somebody, you have to love them. I preach this every week, agape love. You do not have to like everybody in this movement, and you do not have to like your opposition, but you do have to love them because God loves them and because he loves you, and it is your job to do that. And if you could do that, then we will get a lot further, and we will definitely further this movement with that type of love. Love is the only thing that's going to bring this type of change that we are looking for, because that is the only way to wake up the other parts of the population, as well as the doctors, as well as those who might be looking for mercy, who might be looking for forgiveness instead of a sharp tongue. You really do have to think about that while you're out talking to these people. Don't yell in their face and call them murderers and tell them that they're adding to the problem. Show them the way. Show them to the solution.
Exactly.
Which is what we're out here for. It really is. I mean, we have got to empower each other. We've got to lift each other up, and we've got to do the right thing. And we've got to keep finding each other. Keep finding each other. That's like, today, I mean, it's just one of those things. He was a beautiful spirit. We just happened to meet, and in person, I could tell he had an energy about him that I definitely wanted to share on my show and with everybody else. He was just a beautiful man, and he was so sweet. And I definitely didn't believe he was as old as he is when he told me. I mean, goodness gracious. So he looked so young, so healthy. So I'm happy to think, I can put into play some of the things I've learned from him today and maybe be able to turn my whole health ship around. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I could hear it in his voice. Wise man.
Oh, yeah, very, very good guy. And he took his time out to talk to us. He was not arrogant or anything. I mean, he's vice president of Life University, and he was just so sweet, hugging, and just so nice. And talked to my daughter. My daughter actually spoke to him first and then came and got me and was like, you've got to come talk to him. Oh, my gosh, you will love this guy. He is so like you. He is so positive. Get over here. I was like, okay, cool. So that is how I got, I was talking to somebody else at the moment. I think I was over there with Anu and Patrick at the time, and then so she came and grabbed me. But it was just so fun to talk to him. I was like, you have got to tell your story on my show. Like, you are just such a beautiful light. And I love having anybody, parents, doctors, lawyers, anybody do my show. I've had so many amazing people, and every story, while it has they're unique. There's intertwining things in them as well, and it does help show those out there listening. We get people, and there are a lot of people out there listening right now who have never heard about any of this before. That's what's so crazy about Freedomizer. It's the best part to what I do in my platform that I'm on. We had a guy, Jason, calling 2 weeks ago from Brooklyn, and we were just talking. He was talking about cell phones and their addictions, and learned all about vaccines, and was like, "Yeah, I'm gonna look you up. Yeah, I'm gonna join this movement." Like, cool. But we get so many young people who just see, Freedomizer Radio. What's on? What's live right now? And hit the button. And so, it's amazing to be able to reach so many people. But we've got about a minute left, so I'm going to tell you thank you so much for calling in. Thank you to everybody for tuning in today. And I love you, girl. And keep on with the good fight. I promise you, we are going to win. Don't doubt that. I don't know when. I can't tell you what date, but I'll tell you we are going to get there, because there are so many people like you and like me and like everybody else out here who are willing to get us there. So you have an amazing Monday, everybody. Have an amazing week. Hopefully next week Anu will be able to be back Thank you. And Anu did
you.
message me, everybody. He got caught up with the high wire. He said he got dragged into a meeting today and was not able to get away to be a part of the first hour of the show this week. But he will be back, and next week I have no guest. So if you would like to be a guest on the show next week, hit me up on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter or Tumblr or LinkedIn or MeWe or somewhere and get with me. I love you guys. Have an amazing week, and keep on spreading love and light. Lead with love, you guys. Lead with love.